Don't miss the awesome Naruto stories my sister creates. Her last channel was hacked, so to stay in the loop, please subscribe to her new channel. It would mean a lot to her, and you won't regret it. Dear Naruto Lemon fans, I'm inviting all of you to my Boosty channel. You know that YouTube doesn't exactly approve of this kind of content, so please subscribe to my paid subscription and enjoy Naruto Lemon scenes comfortably. There are different subscription tiers from Mini Lemon to God Lemon. Those who buy the over Naruto Lemon and God Naruto Lemon, I'll mentions in the videos. Dare. While sealing Kaguya, she uses her clan's forbidden technique, Millennium Coffin, on the nearest enemy, and since the nearest was Naruto in Sage mode, the technique hit him. Descending to the ground, he felt some discomfort in his body and decided to ask Kurama. "Hey Kurama, what is this feeling?" asked Naruto. "I don't know, but I don't like it either, be on guard," answered Kurama. "Yeah," Naruto answered briefly. By that time, Sasuke had restored chakra for the portal and moved everyone to their world. By the way, about Sasuke, he doesn't want to kill the Kage, etc., but wants to change the world through force and fear of him. Immediately after that, they dispelled the eternal Tsukuyomi, after which some strange things began to happen to Naruto. First, blood began to flow from his nose and ears and he suddenly fell to his knees. His teammates immediately ran up to him. "Naruto, what's wrong with you?" Sakura asked with obvious concern. I don't know. Cough, what is wrong with me, Ku? Naruto said out loud, coughing up blood. Naruto. Naruto. Answer me. The fox screamed in his subconscious. Hey, don't you dare die. Kakashi said, shouting. Who, is going to die, cough, I haven't become Hokage yet. Naruto shouted, trying to get up, but the attempt was not crowned with anything good. Sakura, what's wrong with him? Asked Kakashi, who was already on the verge of crying. I don't know Kakashi-sensei, she answered crying and continued, his chakra center is closing, and if he doesn't have chakra, the Nine Tails won't be able to heal his wounds. Sakura finished crying. What? We urgently need Tsunade, maybe she can do something. Sasuke. Bring the Hokage here immediately, Kakashi said in a commanding tone. Why yeah, okay, Sasuke answered, disappearing from sight and starting to look for the Hokage. He didn't have to search for long, but she immediately attacked him, but after hearing about Naruto's bad condition, she went with him. Running up to Naruto, Tsunade immediately began to check his condition, but what she saw shocked her and she began to unconsciously shed tears. What happened to him? Tsunade said crying. We don't know, but after we dispelled Tsukuyomi, all this started. Sakura said, shedding tears. Tsunade-sama, can you do something? Sasuke didn't have time to finish speaking, as they were all thrown back by black chains that came from the ground and they began to entangle Naruto. The chains pulled him into a coffin that was starting to crawl out of the ground. Naruto. Everyone shouted, but before they could reach him, the coffin closed. What is it, Kakashi-sensei? Sasuke and Sakura asked, shedding tears and trying to open the coffin. I don't know, Kakashi answered briefly, falling to his knees, because he had lost everything, his friends, his teacher, and now his teacher's son, who was also his student. I know what this technique is, she spoke up when she remembered this forbidden technique. The Lost Clan is called Millennium Coffin. This technique works as a temporary sealing of a person or object for 1,000 years, starting to speak calmly, but by the end already sobbing. How is that? Falling to her knees, after trying to open the coffin even with the help of Susanoo it did not work. I cannot believe that he, shedding tears, Sasuke said, since he lost the one who believed in him until the last, his only and best friend. By this time, the entire issue of Naruto had already come to his senses and began to look for Naruto and Sasuke. "Hey, Hinata. Can you find Naruto with the Byakugan?" asked Kiba. "Oh yeah, right now." Activating the Byakugan, Hinata said, and starting to look for them. Literally 5 minutes later she found them and was about to tell everyone, but seeing that the entire 7th team was crying, including the Hokage, she began to look for Naruto. Not finding him, she saw a coffin and a figure similar to Naruto inside the coffin. "No, it can't be Naruto." Hinata started screaming and started running towards them. Everyone didn't understand why she started acting like that and ran after her. Upon arrival, no one said anything except Hinata, who asked about Naruto, but Tsunade didn't want to say that he was sealed for 10 centuries. "Sorry Hinata, but Naruto died during the fight," Tsunade answered, crying, as she knew about Hinata's feelings for the blonde. "What, but how?" Hinata fell to her knees, and tears began to well up in her eyes. After this news, no one could speak, as they had lost many in this war. Upon arrival at the village, everyone immediately began to be buried. A monument was erected to all those who died in the war, but the largest was erected to the hero of Konoha and the 5 nations, the son of the 4th Hokage, Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto. POV Naruto. Naruto began to open his eyes, but what he saw shocked him. There was darkness everywhere. "Where am I? Kurama, are you here? You. Naruto shouted, but there was no answer. "Hey, Kurama. Are you there?" Naruto asked again and tried to get into the subconscious, but he failed. "Where am I? Is anyone here?" Naruto shouted again and began to panic. "What should I do?" The blonde said quietly, hugging his knees to his chest, when suddenly he felt something unfamiliar. Standing up, he saw a small, white spot in this complete darkness and heading there, wondering what it could be. The exit from here or the path to the pure world to his parents and Ero-sanin. What is this? Maybe the exit or something else? Naruto said out loud, thinking and heading there. While he was walking, he lost count of how long he had been walking there. Day, week, weeks or years, or maybe centuries. While he was walking, he did not notice how he passed through the fabric of reality and ended up in a completely different world. At this rate, 999 years 364 days passed, during which time the coffin ended up in Japan, in a small cave on the outskirts of Tokyo. Meanwhile, Naruto approached the light, which already looked like large golden doors. Approaching them, the sage of the 6 paths appeared before Naruto. "Well, finally, Naruto. I found you, but I have 3 pieces of news for you. The first is good, the second is bad, and the third is as you think," the sage said with a sad smile. "Old man sage, let's start with the bad news or something," Naruto answered. "Okay, the bad news is that you are sealed by my mother for 1,000 years, Hagoromo said sadly, but he was surprised by the blonde's answer. I see, and the good news?" Naruto answered without emotion. "The good news is that you are standing at the gate to another world," answered Otsutsuki, still surprised. "Understood, and the last one?" Naruto answered the same way. "You can go back to that world, but all your friends will not be there, because 1,000 years will pass." "Sorry old man, but I don't want to, because my friends and the one who loved me, although I didn't notice, will not be there. You know, while I was walking here, I began to think about my life and realized that Hinata was the only one who always believed in me and loved me all my life, and I, like a fool, did not notice." Naruto grinned at the end of the story. "Well, what will you do, Naruto-kun?" asked Hagoromo. "I'll probably go to the gate," suggested Naruto, "but I will have 2 requests for you," he added. "And what are they?" asked Hagoromo. "Could you give me knowledge of this world and a home?" Naruto asked hopefully. "Yes, I can give you what you ask, but I will have a request," Hagoromo answered. And what is it? Naruto asked with interest. You will find someone who will be dear to you, okay? Hagoromo told about his request. Okay, I will find the one that I will protect and love. Naruto answered the sage's request. That's great, come to me and I will give you knowledge about this world. Naruto approached the sage who folded the seal with his hands and touched the blonde's forehead. He thanked the sage and received the keys to his new house. Naruto headed to the gate, but before entering, Hagoromo asked him to hide his power as soon as he woke up. On the day of awakening, Naruto opened his eyes and seeing the lid of the coffin, he immediately tried to knock it out with chakra. But it didn't work the first time. He struck the lid with his hand about 30 times until it split into 2 parts. Kuo Academy, Rias's class. There was a history lesson, when suddenly there were tremors like an earthquake. Everyone immediately started to panic and call their families, and the demons of the Gremory and Sitri families felt a surge of strange energy with each jolt, but when all the jolts ended, this energy disappeared. At the same time, in Lucifer's office. As soon as the first jolt and surge happened, he immediately ordered Graphia to gather a squad of demons for reconnaissance and find out what kind of power it was. The squad immediately went to the world of the living, to the outskirts of the city and found a strange cave with steps and went there. Do you think it's here? Asked the first demon. I don't know. Answered the second demon. But you felt this strange power. Said the third demon with concern. Anything is possible, everyone be on guard. Said the fourth demon, apparently the captain. Hey, do you feel anything? He asked the censor. Yes, at the end of the cave I noticed someone's presence, but he hides it very well. I barely noticed him. Stop. He also noticed us, the fifth demon said with alarm in his voice. What? But how? We hide our magical power. The third demon said with a drop of sweat on his forehead. Well, everyone get ready for battle. We don't know what's there. Said the fourth demon. Good. The other 4 said in unison. Karo, 1 demon, Kohiku, 2 demon, Tsuyoshi, 3 demon, Yami, 4 demon, Kato, 5 demon. Good, the rest said in unison and headed into the depths of the cave. Naruto's POV. When I got out of the coffin, I immediately hid my chakra and sat in the lotus position and got into the subconscious, which changed, the pipes, water and the cage disappeared and instead of it a green meadow with flowers of different types of flowers and a 3-story house with a kitchen with 9 rooms and baths, a sauna and a pool and 1 door above which was written this world. Knowledge. Then going to the kitchen I saw a note in which the super grandfather left me. Hello Naruto-kun, you probably already looked around the house and noticed that there are 9 rooms here. This is for the tailed beasts that I will send to you after a while, as well as a library with the knowledge of this world. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, then I gave you a gift in the form of the fact that you will remember everything you read almost instantly. In this library there are such sciences as mathematics, history, physics, chemistry and much more. Well, good luck Naruto-kun in this world. P.S. Hagoromo. Thank you super grandfather. Well, I have to go, it seems they noticed me and are approaching. Well, let's see what kind of enemy they are for me. End POV Naruto. Well, how long will you look at me? Naruto said defiantly and provocatively. Who are you or what are you? Coming out of hiding, said one of the silhouettes. I am a human, I just heard strange sounds here and came down here. And who are you? Including the fool, Naruto answered and smiled a fake smile. Yami, does he think we are idiots or something? One of the 5 said angrily. An ordinary person would not dress like that and show a fake smile, another one added. I repeat again, what are you and who are you? Yami said with steel in his voice. Well, why did you see through me? But I have a counter question, what are you? Naruto instantly became serious. How dare you? Unable to bear it, the last 2 revealed their jet black wings. Tsuyoshi, Kato, you are idiots, said the second one standing next to Yami. Karo, Kohiku, get ready for battle. He said the last words. He turned his attention to the stranger and was surprised that not a single muscle on his face trembled. That he was surprised by my reaction. Well, so be it. I will answer your question if you answer mine, okay? Naruto said. Okay, we demons came here for reconnaissance. Because of the surges of strange energy, answered Yami's question. Now it's your turn, Karo said. Okay, I'm a human, but I was sealed during the war out of fear of my power, told Naruto a blatant lie. That you were sealed during the war, they said in fear in unison Tsushio and Kato. Well, that's what I said. Before he could finish speaking, the entire squad attacked him. Who used strange techniques without a seal and throwing at him techniques of fire, lightning and some strange energy of dark red color from which he calmly dodged. Realizing that they could not hit with their spells, they went into close combat with swords from which he also dodged. Having knocked out a sword from one of the opponents, he cut off the head with it, as he realized it was Kato. And quickly dodged 3 swords. He immediately noticed how the one they called Yami was accumulating magical energy. While he was fighting with 3 in the swords, he killed 2 Tsushio and Kohiku with blows to the hearts. He began to fight with the latter, but felt a surge of energy behind his back. He immediately reacted and intercepted Karo's hand. He put him under the technique of an ally. An explosion occurred that threw Naruto into the wall. He began to look for him as he noticed that Yami, battered from his own technique, was disappearing in some circle. Strange guys also called themselves demons, but oh well, we need to find our house, Naruto said while surveying the battlefield and leaving the cave. He had to search for his house for a very long time, although he knew its address, but not knowing the streets, he had to tinker and ask passers-by. It took about 2 hours to find the house, and now it stands near a 2-story building. You dig into your pocket looking for the keys to the house, and after another 5 minutes of swearing to yourself, he found the keys to the house. The link will be to the house. I think it's beautiful. Sasuke's office until the agreed time of the intelligence report. He talked with Graphia and Sona Sitri's father, Lord Sitri. What do you think this energy was? Sasuke asked everyone. I don't know, Sitri answered. Maybe someone or something was freed from confinement? Graphia asked. Maybe, and if so, then that's very bad, supporting one of the options of Sasuke's wife. Well, all we can do is wait for the squad that I sent for reconnaissance. They should return soon. As he finished speaking, a circle appeared in the center of the room from which Yami fell out in a very bad condition. All 3 of them immediately ran up to him. Yami, what happened? Who are you fallen? Sasuke asked, and while Graphia went for the doctors. We found a cave on the edge of the city of Ka and went down into it, and there Karo felt a creature that was hiding its presence and we prepared for battle, but when we went down we saw a monster in the guise of a man, Yami said in fear and intermittently, and began to recount everything that had happened and that this creature was playing with them. What? But how is this possible? Sasuke asked Yami, but he was already unconscious. Literally 10 minutes later, doctors came running and immediately took Yami away. What do you think? Sitri gave, who was thinking about everything that had happened. If this creature was sealed, then you shouldn't leave everything to chance, Sasuke said, rubbing his temples. What we have to do is gather a council of 3 clans and hire demons, Sitri suggested. I think you're right, Sasuke answered him. At the council, everyone was surprised by such an urgent convocation. But when they saw the Lord of Hell and Lord Sitri completely serious, everyone immediately calmed down and began to listen. During the story, everyone felt uneasy because they heard that now an unknown creature is walking in the world of the living, which destroyed almost the entire squad of elite scouts playing with them. Having decided that every week the demons living in the world of the living will patrol the city in search of this creature. Meanwhile Naruto began to examine the whole house, finding several bedrooms, a living room, 2 bathrooms and toilets, and a living room with a kitchen in Japanese style. Entering the living room, he found 2 envelopes. Opening the first, he found, as he understood, documents for admission to the Ko Academy, and the second a small wad of money, about 300,000 Rio, well, small, but in rubles 221,858.4, not bad. After which he sent the clone to the store, and he himself went to carry out water procedures, and going to his bedroom he took a robe and went to the kitchen where the clone came with groceries. Having cooked rice with beef for dinner and washed the dishes, he went to bed, but before going to bed he went to the subconscious in the library and created about 200 clones, sending them to study mathematics, spelling, history, biology, physics and chemistry. At this pace they spent about 3 hours, after which Naruto got a headache sitting like that for about 5 more minutes until the pain passed. He fell into the kingdom of Morpheus. The next morning he got up and took water procedures, having breakfast with scrambled eggs. Naruto bought himself all the things for school and a mask on his face like Kakashi's, only white, because he did not want questions about his mustache on his cheeks. And having found a future place to work, he headed to the academy. On the way to it, all the passing girls threw loving glances at him because of his physique and beautiful blue eyes in which they drowned. Here he began to approach the gate, where they immediately paid attention to him because of his appearance and mask. Everyone immediately began to guess what he was hiding under the mask. And to be continued, smiley face. Here he began to approach the gate, where they immediately paid attention to him because of his appearance and mask. Everyone immediately began to guess what he was hiding under the mask. As soon as he entered the gate in their school uniform, Naruto began to hear the girls staggering behind his back. "Look, girls, what a handsome man, even though he is in a mask, he can now compete with Kibo Yuto," one of them said, blushing. "I wonder what is under the mask," another one said. "Oh, how slender he is, and his shoulders are broad, and his hair with blue eyes, oh what," another one held. "And I wonder if he has a girlfriend." Hearing about, he froze for a second, and sadness appeared in his eyes. Fortunately no one noticed this except for a few individuals, namely Rias, Issei, Sona and Akino. After walking a little more, he was met by Sona, who took him to the principal. Naruto provided documents and told about himself. Well, like when he was 14, his parents died in a car accident, and when he was 16, his godfather died from a robber. He received instructions from the principal and the class number. He went to the class where Issei studied, and the teacher asked him to tell what he likes, hobbies, etc. "Well, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, I'm 17, I like to train and read, but I don't like that." "Well, you can ask him a couple of questions, class, while I'm gone," said the teacher, closing the door. "Naruto-kun, what are you hiding behind the mask?" one of the students asked. "Well, that's a secret," making her eyes smile like Kakashi, "only 2. "And do you train, and what do you do?" another one asked. "Well, it's hand-to-hand combat," Naruto answered, scratching the back of his head. "Wow," the whole class shouted except for Issei, who simply snorted. "Where did you transfer from?" the girl sitting at the first desk asked with interest. "Well, I studied in the States and then moved here for personal reasons," Naruto answered the question. So everyone met Naruto. "Sit down in the empty seat," the teacher said, walking to the board. "Okay," Naruto answered briefly, sitting down in the empty seat. That it Naruto spent the rest of the time studying, but by the end of the day Naruto began to fall asleep in history class. As soon as the teacher noticed that the new guy was sleeping, he decided to check on him and asked him to tell about the war between the Japanese-American War. Going to the board, he began to retell, during which everyone listened as he interestingly told in his angelic voice. Everyone did not even notice how the lesson went. Only when he left the classroom for a break, he noticed 3 guys who were peeping at the girls in the locker room through a crack. Approaching them, he asked, "Well, how long will you be peeping at the girls?" he said so loudly that they could hear in the locker room. Less than 5 seconds passed as everyone heard squeals from the girls, and about 10 dressed girls with wooden katanas ran out of there. "Why, you said so loudly," running away from the crowd, one of them shouted. Thank you. To be honest, these three are already tired of peeping, one of them thanked, approaching Naruto. You're welcome, it's not difficult for me, Naruto said as he left. And call me if anything happens, Naruto finished. By evening, all the lessons were over and Naruto went home, but on the way he noticed a strange woman entering an abandoned building around the corner, from whom a thirst for murder emanated. Turning the corner he saw in the shadow the head of this woman who turned to him. "Boy, come to me," she said affectionately. "Yeah, right now you ran away ugly." From these words she could not stand it and her whole face and body appeared from a person, and everything else from a horse, and a sharp horn grew on her head. "How dare you, mortal, for these words I will tear you apart," throwing herself at Naruto she screamed. "And I have enough strength," taking the sword out of the storage seal and becoming stoic. "I will eat you too slowly and painfully, you will beg me for death," the renegade demon said with rage. As soon as she wanted to put him on the horn, he dodged and hit her with a sword on the back. But seeing that the wound was not deep, Naruto began to dodge the hooves, hands, and horn, thereby analyzing it, and also making cuts on the demon's body, which regenerated slowly. Not finding another way to use the Rasengan, he called a clone to distract the demon, thereby finding a moment to strike. As soon as the demon destroyed the clone, Naruto flies out of the smoke with a Rasengan in his hand and hits the demon on the head, as a result of which the Rasengan tore the head of the renegade demon, thereby falling dead. They are more tenacious than that, we'll have to look in the library to see what kind of creatures these are, Naruto said, covered in blood, and disappearing from the crime scene. All the members of the Occult Science Club and Sona Sitri with her servants were sitting home. Rias and Sona were playing chess, Kiba was cleaning his sword, although I don't know why he needed it if he creates them. Akino was drinking tea, Kaneko was sitting on the couch until she felt a surge of chakra from which she began to tremble. I explain, she is a non-commander and a censor. Seeing this, Rias asked what was wrong with her, to which she replied, "I feel a strange energy and it scares me because of the density and quantity," Kaneko said in fear. "Apparently we found this creature," Rias said with obvious concern. "What should we warn and go on reconnaissance?" Sona put forward. "Okay, Akino, go to hell and warn Lucifer," Rias commanded. "It will be done," she said Akino, and heading to hell. "And we Sona are going there, everyone be on the alert," said Rias preparing the travel circle. "Yes!" everyone shouted. 2 magic circles appeared near the entrance to the abandoned building. Entering inside, they were horrified to see one of the renegade higher demons, and literally a minute later another circle appeared from which about 15 to 20 higher demons and Sasuke appeared. "Brother, what are you doing here?" Rias said in surprise. "Rias, I was informed that you detected this creature," Sasuke said and gestured to disperse. "We detected a surge of strange energy, but when we arrived there was only the body of this demon," pointing with his finger where the body lies. "Well, sooner or later you would have found out about this. But let's move to your club there and talk," Sasuke said. "Okay," said Rias and Sona, and taking their servants into the teleportation circle. Upon the appearance of everyone in the club, Sasuke said that this creature was discovered about 2 days ago, killing 4 of the 5 elite scouts of the higher demons, and during the investigation of the place where it appeared, a coffin with very strong sealing magic was found. And after the story, he warned everyone not to engage in battle with him. About 2 months have passed since that day, during which Naruto became one of the best students on par with Rias and Sona, and in the fight against the renegade demons he became their executioner. Naruto also wants to join some kind of club, but only the student council or occult sciences, since there the demons are only. By the way, he read in his main library about other creatures and the most interesting thing about sacred mechanisms. He also began to think about a part-time job, because he has less and less money for expenses. Here he is walking along the corridor in the academy to the buffet, when suddenly he bumps into a girl whom he recognized as Sona and involuntarily stared at her. Noticing a pair of blue eyes on the meringue, a soft blush appeared on her Naruto was the first to come to his senses and extended his hand in a gesture of help, which the girl accepted and blushed even more. Quickly getting up and thanking her, she ran away to the top floor to the student council office, in which everyone stared at her in surprise, because for the first time you see someone who is always calculating and cold in such a form. A couple of days passed after that encounter, and when meeting Naruto, Sona blushed more and more often. And others noticed this and were jealous, both from the girl's side towards Sona and from the guy's side towards Naruto. After all, one of the school's beauties and the student council president fell in love with him. The rest of the student council tried in every possible way to push her to take the first step. And one of those days, Sona decided to confess. Here she is standing in front of Naruto's class and gathering her courage. Having decided, she reaches for the door handle to the classroom, when suddenly the one she was going to confess to opens it. Confused, she did not know what to do and a blush appeared on her cheeks treacherously. "Hey Sona-chan, are you sick? You're all red," Naruto said, putting his hand on her forehead. "Why yes Naruto-kun, everything's fine." Sona blushed even more. "I'd like to confess something to you," muttering under his breath so that only Naruto could hear. "And what is it?" Naruto asked. I really like you," Naruto interrupted her before she could finish. "That you like me, yes," Naruto said with a smile, which made her look at him in surprise. "I already noticed that you like me and to be honest, I really like you too," Naruto said with a blush while Sona was digesting the information. "See, can you show your face?" Sona said with interest because no one had ever seen his face, even in the locker room. The guys hadn't seen what was under his white mask. "Yes, I can, but with one condition," Naruto said with Dodekami in his eyes, touching the mask. "Yes, I agree," she said a little incredulously, looking at him. "Okay," starting to slowly pull off the white mask from which very beautiful orgasms began to appear. And finally, taking off the mask, he looked at Sona who involuntarily stared at Naruto. "Wow, you're so handsome," as if the most beautiful and bright star descended from the starry sky, shocked the beauty of the one she likes. After all, there is a blonde guy in front of her with eyes the color of the sky in which you can drown and 3 symmetrical stripes on his cheeks, which is why she made a note to call him a fox or a kitten. And you have faces that the world has never seen. And stretching out her hand to his cheek, she felt soft skin pleasant to the touch. "Well, thank you for the compliment, or what?" Naruto answered with a slight blush. "And what is the condition?" Sona remembered the words. "You will date me," Naruto answered. "Why yes of course," at first hesitantly, and then Sona said firmly. "Well then," having said this Naruto leaned towards Sona's lips and kissed her, which took her aback and not immediately, but she still answered. "Well then I'm going." "Fox." Sona emphasized the last words, heading to the student council office. Upon arrival at the office, Sona came in a rather good mood, but nothing lasts long. A servant with the figure of the Queen Tsubaki Shinra approached her and said that they, together with Rias and her servants, were going to patrol the city. Arriving at Rias, everyone noticed that Sona was all irritated by something, but no one dared to ask. By the way, during the time he was studying, Issei had already become Rias's servant. During the patrol, Kaneko felt that same energy, and about 10 more demonic entities were near her. They told everyone this and hurried there. Getting closer and closer, they entered an abandoned factory in which about 10 corpses of different demons were already lying around, and a little further they heard the sounds of battle. Hurrying there, they saw how that same creature was fighting off 5 renegade demons. A strange weapon similar to a 3-bladed knife and some inscriptions on it. Here the creature threw a kunai between 2 demons that they dodged and strange blue balls appeared near his palms, from which power emanated, and at the same second he disappeared in yellow lightning near those who dodged and hit the heads of the opponents, because of which their heads flew to pieces, thereby falling dead. The remaining 3 demons, realizing that this was the same executioner for them, decided to run away to what the creature raised his hand up, where that sphere began to appear again, only with white blades. Throwing this sphere at the demons and hitting the one in the middle, the sphere began to expand and touching two on the sides. Less than 10 seconds passed as 3 more bodies fell to the ground. After which he staggered a little, looked towards the new arrivals who looked at him with fear, but Sona looked at him somehow strangely. She felt something strange in him. After examining everyone again, it disappeared in yellow lightning. After that, they headed to hell to give a reconnaissance report where Surzex was very surprised that yellow lightning did this and did not touch them. And deciding that it would be necessary to find this creature and try to talk about its goals. Naruto's POV. After the fight, I was half exhausted and returning home, I created a clone and ordered to cook food, and I went to the bath. After shopping and having dinner I fell into the kingdom of Morpheus because tomorrow I still have to join the Kendo club. End POV Naruto. The next morning he was going to the academy. On the way there he met Sona and decided to take the initiative. Naruto took her hand, because of which the girl blushed. Approaching the academy everyone was looking only at them. But our newly made couple did not pay attention. Having reached Sona's class they went their separate ways. Heading to the teacher's room to ask the teachers if there was a fencing club for boys. Where he was told that there was a mixed one and that there were only a few guys there if you count the coach. Going to the fencing club in a separate gym where he saw those same girls and several guys with an adult man who were practicing horizontal and vertical strikes. Seeing one of the school idols, everyone stopped and began to guess why he was here. Approaching that man, she started a conversation while everyone else listened attentively to them. "Hello, I understand that you can sign up for a Kendo club," Naruto asked respectfully. "Yes, I understand that you are Naruto Uzumaki, and you know that you are quite popular among girls," he answered first, and then said in Naruto's ear, "Coach. My name is Izao Akiyama, you can call me Sensei or Coach Izao." Izao introduced himself. "Okay Izao-sensei," Naruto said and bowed. "Well, to be honest, we only have a few boys in the club, and only those who recently started training. I will introduce them to you. I will not write their last names, it is difficult to choose a suitable one and describe their appearance, and writing no names is also not an option. This is Yoshi, he is a good and kind guy, he also has a lot of potential. That Keiichi is the same, and the last one is Madoka. He is shy but a good guy. Nice to meet you, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, I am 17 and I want to become a master of fencing, and my goal is to be at the national championship." "Nice to meet you Naruto," all three said, not believing that the school idol would study with them in the club. "Well, Izao-sensei, will there be a test or something like that?" Naruto said with interest. "Yes, there will be a sparring with me, to see what to train you in," Izao said with anticipation. "Good," Naruto said, approaching the stand where the training swords are lying. "Well, show what you can do," the coach said, doing the same. Everyone else in the hall stopped to watch the fight between Naruto and Izao. Here they stood opposite each other in special clothes and helmets. One of the students gave the signal to start, but no one was going to attack first. After standing like that for about a minute, the coach could not stand it first and attacked Naruto, intending to deliver a horizontal blow to the body. And at the last moment, Naruto put him in a block, and was also going to deliver a vertical blow to Izao's head, but he was not so simple and managed to put up a block, thereby defending himself and counterattacking with the same blow, which was easily blocked. At this pace, about 10 minutes passed, which took place in a spectacular fight between beginners and professionals, and then came the moment when Naruto delivers a horizontal blow to the neck, which Izao did not expect and missed. But the sword stopped literally a few centimeters from the neck so as not to cause any damage to the coach. Everyone looked at this and admired Naruto even more, because not everyone can win a sparring match with a former champion in Kendo. "You're not bad," Izao said with a strong shortness of breath. "You're not as bad as my godfather in fencing experience," just like Izao said Naruto trying to catch his breath. "That's how your godfather taught you, can I meet him?" the coach said putting down his sword, but then he heard something that shocked everyone present. "Sorry, he died when I was 16, Naruto said sadly, also putting down his sword and leaving the hall. "I'll come tomorrow," Naruto said at the door as he left for class. The next day, the whole school learned about a piece of Naruto's past and sympathized with him. Arriving at school, he decided to go to the club and apologize for leaving. Entering there, he saw a coach who was also teaching his students. Having eclipsed him, they stopped. "Forgive me for leaving just like that," Naruto bowed, asking for forgiveness from the coach. "Yes, nothing special, you showed that you can do, and besides, I pressed you on a sore spot, forgive me too," Izao said, doing the same. "So we can start practicing," Naruto said, returning to a standing position. "You know, to be honest, I have nothing to teach you," the coach said, scratching the back of his head. "I see, but at least train the others with you," offering his help Naruto. "I don't mind, all 4 of you will go to the championship," Izao also answered. "Yoshi, you don't mind Yoshi, Keiichi and Madoka," the coach added, looking at the others. "Of course not against Izo-sensei and Naruto-san." "Well then let's share," the coach said, taking Yoshi and Keiichi to himself, and Naruto to himself Madoka. That's how training began under Naruto's supervision until the start of the Kendo Championship. Surzex's office in. He thought about Riser and Rias, namely their engagement, which he did not wish on his younger sister. And deciding on a desperate step, namely to find that same yellow lightning to ask him about training Rias and her servants. Asking Grafia to find him at all costs. Having gone in search of that very creature, she went to the places where he was. To find at least some clues, finding nothing, she went in search and releasing her magic as bursts to attract him. Sitting at that moment in the classroom after answering the teacher's question, he caught bursts of magic and decided to go to the source after the academy. Also, all the demons in the academy felt these bursts. And having decided to go there too, they could not even imagine how this would all turn out for them. At the end of the day, Naruto went to the club to train Madoka, and to talk to the others he went to the splash, which stopped in one place. Having gone there, he felt one demon, and having checked it with the empathy which remained to him from Kurama, he realized that this demon was not in the mood for a fight. Coming closer, he managed to examine it, although or rather her, he started a dialogue without noticing another group of people following them. "We all know who Rias, Sona and their servants are. Well, what does the demon need from me?" Naruto said without an emotional voice, looking at the girl. "I'm just a messenger," she said cautiously, not knowing what to do her interlocutor. "Wow, that's interesting. Well, tell me who this message is from," Naruto said with an interested voice. "I am Grafia, servant of Surzex Lucifer. At the personal request of the Lord of Hell, I ask for help in training his sister and her servants," Grafia said, watching the reactions of the yellow lightning. Ka. Sorry, Naruto asked again, choking on air, not believing his ears. "Lord Surzex asked you to teach his sister and servants as much as you can," Grafia repeated. "Okay, I agree, but what will happen to me in return?" Naruto said with anticipation, imagining how he would torture his future students. "I don't know myself, you will need to discuss this," Grafia said, also watching Naruto. "Well, at the end of the training, I will meet him." Having said this, he disappeared just like the demon in the teleportation circle. Everyone watching this was shocked that the same creature would train Rias's team. And after listening to Sona's teasing, everyone went home. Well, as for homes, some of the girls went to Issei. Rias also wondered what her brother had planned. Upon returning to, good news awaited Lucifer. "Lord Lucifer, the Yellow Lightning, agreed to teach your sister," said Grafia, walking into the Lord's office. "What? He agreed?" Surzex asked, not believing the words. "Yes, sir, he agreed to teach them, and he also said that he wants to personally meet with you after training and discuss the reward." Grafia finished standing in front of the table in the office. "Okay, so you were able to find out his identity," Surzex said seriously, looking at Grafia. "Sorry, but I couldn't. As soon as our conversation ended, he used that same magic and disappeared," she said, bowing her head. A couple of months have already passed, there are no leads, he said angrily and slowly calming down. Well, okay, let's try to find him again, Sasuke finished. A day has passed since the conversation. Now, all the figures are sitting in Ria's club and waiting for her instructions. Gremory herself was thinking about what happened. At that moment, she was distracted by the teleportation circle, in which her brother and the queen appeared. Brother, what does this mean? Rias jumped up, turning to her brother. What are you talking about? Sasuke asked her in confusion. That the one we should be looking for will train us. The youngest Gremory shouted in the same tone. The rest of the club had not seen their mistress in such a state. How did you know? Lucifer asked, instantly becoming serious. Sona and our servants felt the surges of magic and went there, she answered her brother a little more calmly. I see. I asked him for important reasons. Firstly, because the Gremory line must be strong, and secondly, you are my sister and I do not want you to get hurt. Sasuke said partly the truth. After all, he did not want everyone to know about the engagement ahead of time. At the end of the conversation, Sasuke asked them to be careful and if possible, find out his identity. At the end of the school day, Rias and the others felt a surge of that energy in the gym. Approaching there, they saw the one who would, each them. It was a man dressed in a gray light vest, black sweatpants, shinobi sandals and a fox mask on his face. Noticing his charges, he pointed his hand towards the entrance and disappeared into the smoke under surprised looks. Entering there, they saw yellow lightning running across the hall. And standing in the middle of the hall, he stopped and looked at them and spoke. First, introduce yourself. He said in a calm and soothing voice, from which everyone's tension eased a little. Rias Gremory. The scarlet-haired girl introduced herself. Akino Himejima, said the girl with purple eyes. Kiba Yuto. The blonde bowed slightly as a sign of respect. Kaneko Tojo, the third girl said, still fearing him. Issei Hayudu. The guy with brown hair and yellow eyes introduced himself. Asia Argento, pleased to meet you. The former nun stammered. Okay, you can call me Fox, Yellow Lightning, in quotes, because it's a nickname, or sensei, Naruto said in the same calm voice. Having thought about something, he folded his hands in the sign of the cross and at the same moment 6 of his copies appeared next to him under the shocked looks of his students. Approaching each, the clones took one Padawan for themselves, and the original took Rias with her and went to the center of the hall, where he began to carry out machinations with his hands and said the words, Restoration Barrier. I came up with it myself. Its essence is that if something is destroyed inside the barrier, it will be restored. Then he said, Soundproof Barrier, and turned to Rias, starting a dialogue. So, for starters, we'll do your physical training, and then you'll increase the amount of your magic. Fox told his plan. Why train the body? Rias answered in bewilderment. To start, you will run 10 laps, 10 squats, 10 abs and 10 push-ups, and all of this in 3 sets, then you will increase the amount of magic in yourself, but that will come a little later. To say that Rias was shocked is to say nothing. Sighing, our scarlet-haired princess began to do her exercises, cursing her sensei. POV Clone and Kaneko. For her it was the same as for Rias, but Naruto said that he would teach her his style of hand-to-hand combat and teach her to pour magic into her strikes for strength and into her legs for speed. POV Clone and Kiba. Listen Kiba, I will teach you stances, and we will also improve your body. Naruto said in a smart tone. Okay, the swordsman said seriously. But first, physical training, 20 laps around the gym, 20 for the press, 20 squats and 20 push-ups, and all 3 sets. After these words, Kiba went to do it. While the clone watches the others, where the one who took Asia said to do half as much as Rias and with Akino, who ignores all questions and made him do the same as Rias. But the most interesting of all was Issei, who asked to give him strength for the harem. From these words, the clone looked at him with a shocked look that says to him, "You're a FCK, for girls fell in love with you here, and he has a harem," but told him to do physical exercises. "Please don't write physical body, at least just train the body, otherwise it looks like you've never studied Russian," and then they will try to get into his subconscious. At these words, Issei did not understand anything, but nodded in agreement. Towards the evening, everyone was pretty exhausted. Although they were resting, they were quite tired and were waiting for the next instructions. While Lise was writing something in a journal, either a diary or a notebook, they started talking to each other. "Ria-sama, how do you like our sensei?" Akino asked with interest. "I think he's playing with us, because his training doesn't give us anything," the president of the occult sciences said in a calm voice. "President, I don't know about you, but Lee-san showed me all my mistakes in swordsmanship and taught me new techniques," Kiba said with a bit of admiration, still watching Lise, who was writing something. "He helped me a lot too and showed me his style, which is much more skillful than mine, although I was afraid of him before the training started, and now I'm not one bit." Kaneko said the same as Kiba. "Whatever you think, but I don't like him," Ria said cautiously, quietly so that their sensei wouldn't hear. "You know, for me he's just a sadist who makes fun of me," Issei whined, who barely recovered from the training. "So everyone over here," Naruto shouted so that everyone could hear. And indeed, in 5 seconds everyone was there. "First, let's split into groups. 1. Improve the amount of magic, 2. Hand-to-hand and swordsmanship, and 3. This is only Asia, as a medic," said the fox, examining everyone, after which everyone divided and at the same second 2 clones appeared near Naruto. "Rias, Akino, you and my clone go there," pointing to another part of the hall, said the original, Kiba, Kaneko, Issei hand-to-hand and fencing there. "In the middle of the hall, pointing with his finger, Asia, you will train with me, heal as quickly as possible," Naruto said in a calm voice, sending the rest to the training points. "Oh okay," she said uncertainly, following him. "First, you will treat small cuts 10 centimeters long," he said, taking a kunai and running it over his hand, from which blood flowed. From which Asia fainted. POV Rias and Akino. "As soon as we reached the corner of the room, our sensei told us to sit in the lotus position and start moving the magic through our bodies. This made us feel uneasy, as the magic was flowing through our channels, causing pain. After that, he told us to add more magic and move it, because in this way the amount of magic in our bodies would become much greater, and then release it out without harming ourselves." Our sensei showed a blue sphere forming in his hand. End POV Rias and Akino. POV Kiba, Kaneko, Issei. Approaching the center of the hall, the fox created 2 more copies of himself, which took 1 of us each, and the original, taking Kiba with him, began to teach him his style, which was made on precise strikes to the tendons, which the enemy would not expect. He began to teach Kaneko the taijutsu style, from which the girl was happy, and happily began to repeat the stances that the fox showed her. But everything would be fine, except for that pervert, who absurdly repeated all the stances, and having spent about 3 hours on all this. Naruto said that now they will try to get into the subconscious. Having explained how to do this, Issei sat in the lotus position and began to concentrate. And literally 10 minutes later he got to the red Welsh dragon, where he began his conversation with him. Having agreed on cooperation, he left the subconscious. Under joyful cries that everything worked out, and having told this to Naruto, who had written down all the data received from the clones and his own in the journal. And having told them to come here tomorrow after school and begin physical training, and then disappeared in lightning. After hell training, Naruto went home to prepare for a special day. Arriving home he went to his room for a wardrobe, and seeing that there were no suitable clothes there he decided to go to a clothing store, or just shopping. Buy clothes for dinner, as well as for a future meeting with Lucifer. Having bought what he needed, he went home, and on the way he saw a restaurant not far from home and decided that the date would take place here. Naruto, approaching home, simply jumped over the fence, but before that he looked around the street for eyes. Entering the house, he hung his clothes in the wardrobe. He himself went to the shower for water procedures. Having decided not to have dinner, he went to bed, thinking about today's training, and after 10 minutes of such thoughts he fell asleep. Waking up in the morning, he did stretching, brushed his teeth, washed his face, went to the shower, and having breakfast with cereal went to get ready for school. Having got ready, he went there, walking down the street, as always, girls from the academy, and not only from his threw loving glances at him. Approaching the gate, he met Sona with Tsubaki Shinra, who were chatting about something. Seeing the masked idol, they stopped talking and saying something. Tsubaki left, and the girl approached him. "Hello Naruto-kun," Sona greeted, because of which all the girls looked at her with a murderous look. From which she shuddered a little. "Oh, hello Sona-chan, how are you?" Naruto greeted him in the same way. "Listen Sona, are you busy tonight?" Naruto said with a blush, slightly turning his head away. "No, did you want something?" she asked in confusion, while everyone around began to curse her. "I would like to invite you to a restaurant," he said with the same blush, although it was not visible under the mask. "Hey, are you asking me on a date?" Sona asked, blushing, running her finger through her hair. "Yes, if you don't mind, then after school, I can come for you," Naruto said firmly, having made up his mind. "Okay, but I have to go to the club after the academy, hand in reports," she said, slightly lying, because she just wants to brag to Rias. Even though she knows that they are different in race and nothing will work out, but you can't command your heart. "It's not a problem, I have a club too." Naruto jumped up to go with her. "Well then, after the academy," she said joyfully under the dumbfounded faces of the others, which is not typical for her. "Yes, let's go." Our newly baked lovebirds said goodbye. After the school day, everyone went to clubs or home. Naruto, as soon as he entered Kendo, went to Madoka to train, and he was very surprised at his success, because not everyone can learn a new style at such a pace. Towards the end of the training, Izao-sensei called everyone to his place, where he told them about the upcoming qualifying round of fencing in Japan, and after the tournament, the national championship and the world championship. And asking Naruto if his student was ready, and he answered that he would surprise everyone. Having gone home, he began to wait for Sona, who left the school in a very sad state, but seeing him, she was happy and saying that she just needed to go change and get herself in order. They went home. Arriving home, he started getting ready to go to a restaurant, and then to the cinema to see the American film Real Steel. "Well, what did you watch recently? It's really cool." Having got ready, he went to the address of Sona's house, the address of which she wrote to him. Approaching her door, he knocked and heard behind the door, "I'll be out soon," and literally 5 minutes later Sona came out in a beautiful dress that looked great on her. It was a white bottom with a white skirt with black lace, I think, at the end, and a black top that was on her shoulder. Seeing her, he was speechless, although he also looked very incredibly. Blonde hair, eyes the color of the sky in which you can drown. A black suit that literally fit him perfectly. Having paid attention to each other, both blushed from disbelief of what was happening. "Well, let's go," the first one said Naruto, moving away, holding out his hand to her. "Why yes," all blushed, she said, taking his hand. "Well, are you ready? The most unforgettable date in your life awaits you," Naruto said cheerfully, heading towards the park. While they were walking, everyone passing by fell in love with one of them. At the sight of this couple, some had nosebleeds. Having walked like this until the evening, chatting about everything, telling more and more about themselves and falling more and more in love with each other, closer to the evening, Naruto took her to the Pearl of Glory restaurant. Approaching the manager, Naruto said that he had reserved a table for the evening. Having shown where the table was, the girl went to go to work, blushing a little at the sight of the guy under Sona's displeased and murderous look that said, "He's mine." After sitting like that for about 2 minutes, they called the waiter and ordered 3 dishes and 2 desserts, okonomiyaki, takoyaki, yakitori, and 2 pieces of cake. One strawberry, the other truffle, I don't know why, but I like those, and champagne, which he asked Sona if he would have, which she didn't refuse and told him what kind. After sitting and talking like that for more than 15 minutes, their orders were brought to them, which they began to drink and wash down with champagne little by little. He ate everything in half an hour and slightly drunk, just a little. He took her to a movie in a cinema where he immediately bought tickets at the end of the row, it seems to me, or he had something in mind for the last rows, and after going to their seats they started watching the movie. After walking for 30 minutes, Sona put her head on Naruto's shoulder and stretching one of her hands to his cheek and the other to his groin area, he said to him in a lily voice. "Let me kiss you, my little fox," she said with a sly smile, pulling down and simultaneously stretching the button at the bottom. "Okay, but what you want will happen later," Naruto said with the same smile, pulling his face completely and biting into Sona's lips, which tasted like a sweet apple. They kissed for about 2 minutes until they ran out of air. "Okay, but you promised me," she said with the same or more sly smile, removing her hand from below. "I will keep my promises," Naruto said, breaking away from the kiss and continuing to watch the movie. After watching the movie, they went home and crossing the main street at a traffic light, Naruto and Sona held hands and several other people were crossing the zebra crossing when suddenly some driver jumped out on red and was heading in their direction. Of course Naruto could have saved everything in the blink of an eye, but he didn't want to reveal his cards in front of Sona and decided that he had to push Sona into those in front of him, and get hit by a car himself. Having thought it over, he immediately threw Sona in front of him, thereby saving everyone and preparing for the impact. 3, 2, 1. Bang, and no one understands what happened. Everyone except the 3 people he saved, having come to her senses from everything, Sona began to look for Naruto, seeing a circle of people and shouts that they should call an ambulance quickly. She rushed there and passing everyone she saw him all in blood with broken bones, from which she rushed to him in an attempt to help, while everyone else was calling, "Naruto, Naruto!" Sona screamed at him in tears. "Oh Sona, you're okay, I'm glad," groaning and barely as Naruto said, slightly spitting out blood. "Why did you do this, why?" Sona did not stop screaming at Naruto. "Well, what was I supposed to do if I fell in love with you head over heels today?" Naruto said with a slight smile, looking at his new love and stretching his fingers to her cheek, thereby removing the tears. Having said this, he lost consciousness, and upon arrival at the place, the doctors immediately sent him to intensive care and Sona home. But before that, they asked if he had relatives, thereby shocking themselves that he was alone. POV Sona. After Naruto pushed me and 2 other adults, I started looking for Naruto. Not finding him, I saw a crowd shouting to call an ambulance faster. I heard this, I ran to them and started making my way inside. When I got there I saw that the one who saved me was now lying all in blood. As soon as I ran up, I started yelling at him why he did this, to which he replied that he fell in love with me today. After that, the ambulance took him away, and I went home in a depressed state and very worried about him. Having fallen asleep in tears, I woke up in a bad state and began to put myself in order, but I remembered yesterday and a path of tears began again. Somehow getting ready, I went to the academy. On the way everyone looked at me in shock. Of course I understand them. One of the beauties is now walking through the academy yard with red eyes from tears. Approaching the class, several teachers whom I helped called out to me. "Sona, what's wrong with you?" The math teacher said worriedly. "Something happened?" The biology teacher also said. "I'm fine," Sona said in a depressed voice. "Someone offended you?" The homeroom teacher asked her student. "No. Naruto, he's in," she began to cry without finishing this. "What's wrong with him, by the way, where is he? We can't get through to him." The math teacher asked in confusion, not realizing what was wrong with the head of the student council. He's in the hospital. Having said this, she remembered his bloody body and ran to the girls' restroom. What does this mean? The biology teacher said. I don't know, but we need to go to the principal. End POV Sona. After that, they went to the principal and asked what all this meant and why no one had warned them, to which he replied that he was an orphan, and these words shocked all the teachers. Then the biology teacher asked what to do with Sona after all these words. Everyone looked at her with confusion. To which she replied that Sona had a crush on Naruto, and after deciding that they needed to cheer her up somehow, they all went to their classes. After Sona ran to the toilet, she sat there for half of the lessons, breaking through and blaming herself for not noticing first and putting Naruto in danger. Coming out of the stall, she went to class with red eyes. Entering the classroom, everyone stared at her in shock and began asking her what was wrong with her, even though the lesson was in progress. Sona, what's wrong with you? One of the girls asked, but she didn't answer. Don't be silent, tell us it's all because of Naruto. Another one said worriedly. And no, it's because of me. She said indistinctly, but everyone heard her. I mean, what happened? The teacher had already asked. Why yesterday, when we passed through the traffic light. Me, Naruto and two other people started to move to how suddenly a car flew out at us, and then I didn't understand what happened. I heard something hit and the three of us fell. I got up and then started looking for Naruto and not finding him. I noticed a crowd that was shouting to call an ambulance and thinking that there might be Naruto in the crowd. I went there and after passing all the people I saw he was covered in BB blood. Sona began her story, but with every word she felt bad. And somewhere in the middle, tears began to flow, and in the end she fell to her knees and lost consciousness. Urgently take her to the medical center, the teacher shouted and went to the principal to find out about the student's condition. Immediately after that, Sona was taken to the medical center, and the teacher went to the principal with questions about the student, where the principal had just called the hospital where they said, the condition is critical, but the operation was successful, and now the condition is stable. Having said this, the teacher calmly sighed and went to class, but on the way out he asked, what to do with Sona, she doesn't breathe evenly for him, and after these words he went out and went to class where a lot of questions attacked him, because of which he had to cancel classes. To tell what he knows and ask to look after her and, if possible, go to the hospital to see Naruto. POV Naruto. After I got hit by a car. I got into the subconscious in the library to read. Having sat here for about 3 days, I think I heard a noise on the street. Coming out there I saw a man with 9 red tails, fox ears and 3 symmetrical stripes on his cheeks with a slender body for 20 years. Kurama? I asked somehow uncertainly. Naruto, is it you? Kurama asked, not believing his eyes. Kurama. I shouted and jumped on his neck, because I hadn't seen him for a very long time. Is it really you? Naruto, who had recovered from the shock, said, looking at his friend. Why yes, it's me, Kurama, I'm so glad to see you, but why are you in human form? Naruto asked, unhooking himself from Kurama. My father did this and asked me to tell you that it will soon become noisy here. Kurama said with a smile, but then seriously. What? Naruto asked, not understanding. You'll understand when they arrive. Kurama said mysteriously, gesturing into the house. Entering the house, Kurama began to ask about life here and what he was doing. Starting the story with his awakening, where Kurama laughed and continued with the fact that a squad of demons attacked him but failed, and then about finding a house and entering the academy and meeting a bland girl, he began that moment. Well, there is one problem, Ku. Naruto said with a stupid and innocent smile, looking at Kurama. And what is it? Kurama said, not understanding. At that moment when the car flew out I pushed Sona aside, 2 people in front and got right under that car. Naruto said a little sadly, at least once was that who saved her. Naruto, no, of course I expected this from you, but not so much. rubbing the bridge of his nose, said Kurama. But oh well, I can't quickly heal your wounds now, but I can speed it up, said Kurama, but what he saw shocked him. After all, Naruto is sitting in front of him now and reading a book called Advanced Physics. "NN Naruto, is it you or have you been replaced?" Kurama said in disbelief and just in case rubbed his eyes. "What are you doing, Kurama?" "Of course it's me," Naruto said with a grin, looking at his friend's reaction. After the conversation they went to the library where he showed Kurama books to read. And a few hours later Naruto felt that he could come out of his subconscious. End POV Naruto. Waking up he saw a white ceiling and felt the smell of medicine and a strange sensation and saw that strange devices were connected to his hand. When he tried to get up, pain pierced his entire body, after which the devices beeped, and a nurse ran into the room and called the doctor and began to help him sit up and put a pillow under his back. 5 minutes later, the doctor and 2 more nurses ran in and began their examination and were surprised by his regeneration. Having finished the examination, the nurses left the room and said that they would call the school and warn the director that he had woken up. "And you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, young man," the doctor said when they were alone. "True, thank you, but this is also your merit," Naruto answered and thanked the doctor. "Well, thank you, but you are still an amazing person. Not only did you get hit by a car and survive, but you also have good regeneration." The doctor was surprised when he looked at his tests. "Thank you, but when can I be discharged?" Naruto asked the doctor, who was just thinking. "Let me think about it. In a month of a full examination, since you are an orphan," the doctor said a little sadly. "After all, this boy has been alone since he was 16. "I see, but if my body recovers faster?" Naruto asked hopefully. "Yes, of course, after all, you will be completely healthy," the doctor answered the question. "Oh yes, they called us from Kuo and asked about your condition," the doctor added at the door and left. While they were talking, the nurses called the director at the academy and told that their student woke up. Which the director was very happy about. Because no one liked seeing Sona blame herself. As soon as the director finished listening about the student, he called Sona's class teacher and invited her to the principal's office. POV Sona. "Today, as usual, I feel bad for the last few days and blame myself for the fact that Naruto got hurt because of me. After all, if I had noticed that car, then nothing would have happened. And so I'm sitting in class when suddenly the class teacher's phone rang, but I didn't pay attention to it until he asked me to go to the principal. But I saw a smile on his face and didn't attach any importance to it and went to the principal. And on the way I thought about the conversation, like everything will be fine, he's strong, etc. As soon as I entered the office, he asked me to sit down in the chair with a smile." "Something happened?" Sona asked the director directly. "Yes, it happened. I told you that he is strong, Sona," he said happily, looking at how tears came to her, but not from sadness, but from happiness. "Ah really, I can go to him?" she asked him with hope. "Yes, of course, he is on the mend," the director said with a smile and kindness. And after these words, she ran out of the office into the classroom with a smile and tears, but before that, she asked the address of the hospital. Everyone in the class did not understand what was happening because Sona flew into the classroom joyfully and took her things and ran out of it again with puzzled faces. Hearing this, Sona ran home to get ready and buy Naruto fruit for a speedy recovery. Having run home, she ran to her room to the wardrobe and began to look for suitable clothes. Having found a black t-shirt and jeans of the same color, she ran out of the house to the nearest store and bought him apples, orange, juice, etc. and a couple of things to change. She came home with bags in her hands and went to bed, but before going to bed, she called Rias for help with the bags and went to bed. Waking up in the morning, she called Gremory and arranged for them to come to her. Began to dress in the already prepared clothes and doing water procedures and making herself breakfast. After eating, her doorbell rang and she went to the door, opened it and saw Rias, Issei, Akino and Kiba. After greeting them, she let them in and told them to go to the kitchen where there were 2 huge bags, one with food and one with clothes. Sona, haven't you overdone it? Ria said in shock, looking at the bags. What are you talking about? Tilting her head to the side and putting her finger to Sona's face. I mean this? Showing Rias the huge bags. Yes, Sona-sama, all this isn't too much for an ordinary person. Issei said with a superior voice, thinking that he was stronger than him. What did you say? She said in a sepulchral voice, releasing a killer aura. Rias, I just asked you to help me carry the bags and that's it, and your servant opens his mouth. She said, calming down, looking at Issei, who turned pale. Forgive him, I'll talk to him. Rias said in shock, because with the appearance of Naruto, Sona began to show more emotion. Well, I'll call a taxi now, and at the entrance to the hospital you will help me carry it and that's it, Sona said, taking the phone in her hands. Okay, they only said. And as soon as they arrived at the hospital, they pulled bags out of the trunk and went to the entrance. Having gone up to the reception, they approached the nurse who was sitting and reading a fashion magazine. Hello, could you tell me where Naruto Uzumaki's ward is? We are his school friends, Sona asked impatiently to meet him. And are you talking about that boy who was hit by a car? The nurse answered, looking at the arrivals, and noticed that the girl in the black t-shirt became sad. But don't worry, I'll call his doctor now and ask if I can see him, the nurse said, dialing the number. Thank you, Sona said and went to sit down in the waiting area. After sitting like that for about 10 minutes waiting for the doctor, a man of about 40 to 45 years old in a white coat approached them. I understand you are to Naruto. My name is Kiritsuwa Takabayashi. If anything, I am not the limit if there is such a character, the doctor said with a smile, glad that they came to him. Hello, yes, I am to Naruto, said Sona, bowing slightly. And thank you for curing Naruto, Mr. Takabayashi, she finished. Well, we are for the company and help her convey this, said the two guys, and Rias and Akino nodded. Well, I'm glad, but your Naruto is simply an amazing person. To have such regeneration is simply unimaginable, Kiritsuwa said admiringly, walking to the ward. Hearing this, Rias and Sona were surprised and thought that he had a mechanism and decided to make him their servant. Seeing Rias's expression, Sona looked at her with the most murderous look, from which Rias went a little tremble. Approaching the ward and opening the door, they saw Naruto's naked torso and scars doing push-ups. Naruto! What did I tell you? To stop, the doctor shouted at Naruto, who smiled stupidly and scratched the back of his head. But he stopped when he saw that Sona ran to him and hugged him tightly. I'm sorry, forgive me if I noticed that car, she said, crying in her shoulder. It's not your fault, stroking her head and calming her down. I understand you're along for the ride, Naruto said, looking at the shocked looks of the guys and the doctor. Yes, Naruto, Ria said, looking away from Naruto's body and blushing slightly. Okay, I'll go, and I'll fix you up in the evening, Kiritsuwa said as he walked out and looked angrily at the patient. Naruto, you're fine, nothing hurts, I bought you some groceries and clothes here, Sona said, moving away from him and flushing a little from Naruto's press. Here. Take them, they're incredibly heavy, Issei and Kiba said at the same time. Okay, he said, taking the seemingly heavy bags, but when he picked them up, they were light for him. What, they are so heavy, and you just took them without trying, Issei shouted at Naruto. Era, you are strong, Akino said strangely. Naruto, so are you okay? Sona asked worriedly. Yes, I'm fine. As I saw, I've already started training, Naruto said in a soothing voice to Sona. Well, of course, and T was here to help, Kurama said mentally to his friend. Thank you, Ku, thanking Naruto. Kurama. Okay, when can they discharge you? Sona asked, calming down. The doctor said as soon as my last tests are checked and they decide, he answered, remembering Takabayashi's words. Got it, she said. Having talked like this before lunch, they began to get ready to go home. But when leaving the room, Naruto's friends and a coach from the kendo club came in with whom he talked for about an hour. the visiting schedule ended and, asking Naruto to leave, everyone went home. After lying there for a couple more days, during which Sona came to him and the members of the Kendo club discharged him and sent him home and asked him not to strain his body for about 3 weeks. Arriving at the house, he paid the money and went into the house immediately, starting to clean up after 2 weeks of absence. Dust collected, creating about 30 clones for cleaning, and he himself went to the store for groceries. Arriving home, he saw how everything was shining in clones that had transformed into irons that iron things and wash. Going to the kitchen with groceries, he began to prepare a light dinner. After eating and bathing, he fell into the kingdom of Morpheus and wished good night to Kurama and fell asleep. Waking up in the morning and doing all the chores, he started getting ready for school. Leaving the house and going to the school, everyone looked at him with surprise and asked about his health. Approaching the gates of the academy, he noticed Sona, who was waiting for him. Having greeted him and talked about various topics, they went to their classes. Entering his class, he was immediately attacked with questions, and even teachers from other classes asked him well, and Naruto did nothing but answer. Having finished with the questions, they sat down to do their homework, and having sat like that for them and having answered the teacher's questions, Naruto went to train his wards who were taught by his clone when he was sitting in the hospital. Having met them in the gym, he immediately set up barriers and began to chase them around the hall and sent a clone to the library for the tactical books for Rias. "So Rias, come here," Naruto shouted, which distracted the red-haired girl's attention to himself. "What is sensei?" she ran up and said, looking at her sensei. "I will give you books on tactics and combat and command." Having listed this, a clone with books appeared near them. "Okay, but how will this help me?" she said perplexedly, looking at the books and taking them. "Read and understand, and now run to meditate," he said. "You know, even though she is their king, she is stupid not knowing such things," Kurama said mentally. "Yeah, I guess I agree with you," Naruto also mentally answered his friend. "Well, what reward do you want to receive?" Kurama asked with anticipation. "I'll ask you to make me a demon," Naruto said, from which the fox went into the subconscious. "Are you serious now, and this is for her sake?" Kurama asked, coming to his senses. "Yes," Naruto answered shortly, watching the others train. A couple of weeks have passed since the last training, and only a couple of days remained until the wedding and meeting with Sasuke. During these weeks, each of Rias's team will advance in training, and if Rias, Akino were able to increase the amount of magic, control and power, and Rias was able to advance far in the study of combat tactics and strategy. Also, Issei, Kiba and Kaneko improved their hand-to-hand combat skills and swordsmanship to the maximum as they could. With Asia, everything turned out more problematic. Because she first had to overcome the fear of a large amount of blood, and the test subject was Naruto, and everyone saw how he makes big wounds to himself. He will make a hole in the collarbone with the help of a clone, then he will make burns on the body and all sorts of other things. They wondered what kind of pain vice he has. There was also another case when everyone almost fainted. Flashback. Returning home after school, Naruto felt that about 50 fallen were watching him, as he understood from the aura. Passing by the park in the evening when there was no one there, he quietly created 4 clones and sent them to put up a barrier and began to wait for his guests. "I wonder why the fallen need me," Naruto said, watching the fallen with pitch-black wings emerge from the shadows. "And you are an interesting mortal, you are not afraid of us and you know who we are," one of them said, looking at the blonde. "And why should I be afraid of you if you are weaker than me?" he said with a bloodthirsty smile, looking at some of the fallen who were scared. "Haha, and you are impudent and arrogant, there are 50 of us here and you are alone," mocking Naruto, the fallen said. "Well, let's see, what can we do? Let's arrange a massacre," Naruto shouted with the same smile and preparing for battle. "You should not underestimate us, boy, you will die here and now." Having shouted this to the blonde, all the fallen ran at him with spears. As Naruto said, it was just a massacre in Naruto's favor. After all, he simply tore off their legs, arms, heads in just 20 minutes, half of the fallen lay on the ground dead without limbs, and Naruto himself stood in the middle covered in blood and a couple of cuts on his body. "Well, who's next?" he asked the frightened birds with a bloodthirsty smile. "Monster!" Several birds shouted, and at the same second 3 heads fell. "Haha, I haven't been called that for a long time," standing near 3 bodies, Naruto said. "Run!" One of the survivors shouted and began to run with everyone else. "How smart you are, it's decided you will live, and the rest," Naruto said this and paused and killed 2 at once, "they will die." He added and began to cut everyone in a row. At the end of this massacre, the last 3 fallen remained, of which 1 will remain. Now they are trying to break through the barrier. "What is it that can't be broken through?" Naruto asked in a mocking tone, who was covered in blood and slightly tilted his head to the side. "Yes, I hope you die," everyone shouted Troy and ran towards him, having lost all hope. "Oh, how evil you are," he said offendedly and threw a kunai with the mark of the god of thunder between the 2, thereby depriving them of their heads, and turning to him with a sweet smile said, "Live and tell the others about me." Having said this, he disappeared in a yellow flash and appeared on the roof of the gym while those clones dispelled the barrier and disappeared. Putting on the fox mask, he appeared in the center of the gym and frightened his students who were here with his appearance. 5 minutes ago, all the members of the Occult Sciences Club were in the gym and were waiting for their sensei. "Well, where is he? He was always here before us," Issei shouted angrily. "Calm down, Issei," Kiba said calmly. "Yes, Kiba-kun is right, calm down," Kaneko said looking at Issei. "Okay, but at the end of the training I will challenge this Uzumaki to a sparring match. I'm already tired of all the girls only discussing him, imagining how Naruto will beat Issei." Era, have you really learned to fight? Will you go to a sparring match with this Uzumaki?" Akino said in her repertoire. "Akino is right, you are still far from Naruto-san. I saw how he studied swordsmanship in the Kendo Club and in physical education during self-defense lessons. He is extremely skilled and there is something in him. If I had figures, I would make him my pawn," said Rias, remembering how she saw behind his skills and that strangeness inside him. "I agree with Mrs. Rias, he is of disbelief." Not letting him finish, a sudden flash appeared in front of them, and turning their attention to him like everyone else, immediately pulled the gag reflex. Since it's not every day you see a person who is completely covered in blood. "Aaa!" Everyone shouted and scared everyone and got ready for battle, but when they saw the mask, they immediately calmed down. "Sensei, why are you completely covered in blood?" Rias, who had left first, asked. "Oh, you just after aka," at first, not understanding what they were talking about, and then looked at himself and would have only started his story as he almost let it slip. "Well, why in this form?" I deliberately missed what he wanted to say. Rias. "Well, on the way home, I was attacked by about 50 fallen, or something like that," Naruto said, remembering their number. "Sensei, what happened to them?" Kiba asked a question that was very interesting to everyone. "They are all dead," the fox said in a sepulchral voice, making everyone's knees tremble. "Hey, your sensei has something perverted inside him and it will be stronger than me," Drake said mentally to Issei. "What? And he just told me that," Issei said nervously in his mind and looked to his teacher. "I just noticed, and until now he carefully hid what was inside him," Drake also mentally answered and began to sleep. "Lee-sama, did anyone survive?" Kiba asked with apprehension. "Of course, but only the one I let go," he said with a smile, but it was not visible under the mask. "So I'll go take a shower and you guys go do your exercises, but today is a good day, so do a little less and you can go," Naruto said, heading to the shower. After that, he teleported home, but before that, he left the clones to set up barriers and keep an eye on everyone. After training only a little easier, the clones dispersed and passed on their memories to Naruto, and our Padawans went to Issei's rebuilt house for an important conversation. "So what do you think about that aka?" Rias said, sitting down on one of the chairs in the kitchen. Maybe he made a mistake and wanted to say something else, Kiba said while putting the kettle on, turning to the president. Anything is possible, but no, he was about to tell me when he suddenly just stopped and changed the subject, Rias said thoughtfully, remembering that moment. Haha, maybe he wanted to say the academy, Issei said jokingly, going to turn off the kettle, and everyone looked at him dumbfounded. What are you doing? Issei said, slightly stuttering from their faces. No, I just didn't expect to hear that from you, said Kiba. Yeah, you just always talk about vulgarities, and then this, said Akino, no less surprised. You know, he's partly right, I don't know many establishments that start with AKA, said Rias, and they looked at her with surprise. Well, okay, let's move on, our sensei will talk to my brother again, we'll find out there, said Rias and went to one of the showers in the house, as did the others, because Razor will arrive soon and she will offer a game of raiding there. After the last training, Naruto decided that he would invite her on a date again, but not like last time. He woke up and did water procedures and mini exercises, he got ready for the academy and leaving the house heading towards Kwa, he noticed surveillance on him, but did not reveal it right away. Arriving at school and in class, he greeted everyone as usual and sat down on his desk where he actually sat through the lessons and barely responded to the good marks in each lesson. He headed to his kendo club. Hello everyone, Naruto said with smiling eyes as he walked into the hall. Hello, good, said everyone in the hall. I see you have already recovered, but you will not strain yourself too much, you understand, Izao said sternly, looking at his ward because the director had warned him about what was happening. Of course Izao-sensei, I will train, Madoka will do. Of course, oh yes, the tournament will start in a week, you will go, Izao agreed and warned Naruto. Perhaps, but we need to think about it, Narik answered, walking to the stand with training katanas. Well, Madoka is here. Naruto came, the coach said, and called the student Naruto, and after 5 seconds the above-named one ran up. What, Naruto, nothing hurts you, right? You can already work out, he bombarded Madoka with questions and asked him worriedly. Nothing hurts, and I won't work out, you will, Naruto said with a smile under his mask because Madoka's character had become similar to his. Good. He threw it out and everyone started training. As soon as everyone finished their classes at the club, they began to go home while our hero was waiting for Sona at the student council office and accidentally overheard Sona's conversation with someone. How can you not understand? He is a man and you are not, someone shouted at Sona. And what the heart cannot command and our feelings are mutual, Sona blurted out in response. What do you think your father will say about your choice? Nothing, he will simply kill him and that's it, a little calmer shouted a voice similar to a woman. And you too, I don't care what he says, it's my choice, Sona shouted and hit the slot or something wooden. As you wish, and then don't come to the academy in tears, someone said and headed towards the exit. And it's a pity that that car didn't nail him. Having said this, the voice began to open the door in front of which Naruto stood and listened. Seeing that the door was opening, he silently, like a ninja, jumped back to the corner of the stairs. What did you say? Sona said in a sepulchral voice. Nothing, goodbye, and yes, we are the first to go for the familiars, the red-haired top said at the door. I don't care, Sona snorted. Immediately after that, the door opened completely and Rias Gremory came out, followed by Issei. Seeing that the one they were discussing heatedly was going up the stairs to their floor, Rias looked at him with disdain, and Issei with superiority of strength. Ignoring their glances, he headed towards Sonia, and not forgetting to knock on the door, which was opened by Sona. Listen, Sona wouldn't mind going on another date, but only without another car, Naruto asked and joked about the car. Oh yeah, sure, I'll just get ready, Sona said, wiping a lonely tear from her cheek. Something happened? Naruto asked worriedly. No, we just remembered our first date, so the tear started, Sona made an excuse so as not to disturb Naruto. Okay, Naruto drawled. Well, that's good, I'm here now. Having said this, Sona disappeared behind the door for 5 minutes and came out in casual clothes that she had bought not long ago, namely blue jeans, a white t-shirt with a picture of a fox and an orange sweater with the same picture as on the t-shirt and black and orange sneakers. "Are you trying to tease me like that?" he asked with a smile at Sona, who was slightly blushing from the clothes, since she had never worn them before. "Wore one like this, it suits you, but let's go for a walk and then have dinner with me." "Ah, really, do you like it?" she asked shyly, raising her head up because Naruto was a head taller than her. Of course, Naruto agreed. Leaving school, Naruto created a couple of clones and ordered them to teleport home and cook dinner for two. While Sona was distracted by a phone call and finishing the conversation, they went to the park holding hands, admiring the scenery. Having finished the walk, Naruto took the girl to his home, don't even hope for hentai, for dinner. Approaching the house, Sona was surprised by its size and beauty. "Is this your house?" Sona asked in surprise, watching Naruto open the door to his. "Yeah, it's beautiful really." Watching the girl's reaction, Naruto answered. "Well then, welcome." Opening the door in front of Sona, said Naruto. After which they both went in, and Naruto noticed surveillance in front of the house but did not recognize who it was, Rias or the Fallen. Entering the house, Naruto pointed towards the bathroom where you can wash your hands, then to the kitchen. Entering the kitchen, Sona saw a table set with dishes, a bottle of red wine from 1924 and the same desserts that were in the restaurant. Naruto," Sona asked in surprise. "Something's wrong?" Naruto asked, looking at Sona. "And when did you manage to see that the dishes were still warm?" Sona puzzled with questions. I asked the neighbor to look after the house and take the order from the restaurant." Naruto somehow got out, scratching the back of his head. "I see," believing Sona's story. After dinner and drinking a full bottle, both were drunk because their faces gave them away, and decided that the couple should go to bed and Sona should be sent home by taxi. "Right now." "Hick." "Sona, I'll call." "Hick." "A taxi." Naruto had a hard time figuring out what to say. "No." "Hick." "I need to go to my." "Hick." "Mom, there's no one, I'll stay here." Insisted that she would spend the night at Naruto's, Sona said firmly. "Okay," Naruto said, inviting her up to one of the rooms, but Sona decided that she would sleep with Naruto. She went with him to the room. "Hey Sona, you, hick, what are you doing?" Naruto was about to take off his pants and asked Sona. "I'll sleep with you." Firmly saying this, Sona began to take off her clothes, and having already taken off her t-shirt and remaining in her underwear, she blushed even more because Naruto was only looking at her. "Maybe you will turn away," covering her bra, said Sona, watching as Naruto stared a little more and turned away. "Forgive me, I did not mean to," he said. This took off everything down to his boxers and lay down under the blankets in a mask and began to wait for Sona, when suddenly he felt something pressed against his back. Turning to Sona. "Good night," Naruto wished him, when suddenly Sona took off his mask and kissed him. "Good night and thank you for the evening," she thanked him and fell asleep. Having fallen into the kingdom of Morpheus, our couple fell right away. Because the next morning jet them much more interesting than alone. Unknown place. "Well, what did you find this ancient magic?" asked the unknown in a black cloak. "And soon we will decipher this language and resurrect the ancients," said another unknown. "That's good." And then, "In the glory of the black star," shouted one unknown. "In the glory of the black star," shouted about 100 of the same unknowns in cloaks. Starting to open his eyes, Naruto began to look for the alarm clock with his hands, and feeling something soft and pleasant to the touch, he squeezed his palm a little, and rubbed his eyes with the other, and turning his eyes in the other direction, he saw a sleeping Sona and his hand on her chest. Bystrov cleaned up and dressed, he went to the bathroom where he took water procedures, and then went to the kitchen to cook scrambled eggs with bacon and began to wait for the girl at the table, and literally 5 minutes later she went down in his black t-shirt mixed with white lines that reached below her waist, slightly revealing a juicy Zo. KKKH. POV Sona. Waking up from a delicious smell and slightly opening my eyes, I saw not my bed, but someone else's, but I remembered yesterday evening, thank God that today is Saturday. I blushed a little and started looking for my clothes, but not finding them I climbed into Naruto's closet and was surprised by the order and smoothly ironed things. Having found a large-size t-shirt, for me, I went towards the smell to the first floor where I saw Naruto in only shorts and without a mask. Having stared at this little fox for a bit, I sat down at the table. End POV Sona. Good morning, little fox, she said affectionately and a little sarcastically. Good kitten, Naruto also said sarcastically. She always teases you like that when you're without a mask, maybe you should stop wearing it, Kurama asked with a grin. Yeah, always or alone, and about the mask, you need to ask, Naruto answered mentally. Listen, kitten, do you mind if I don't wear a mask? Naruto asked cautiously, but seeing Sona's thoughtful face, he calmed down. I don't mind, little fox, let them envy, she answered with a smile and leaned over a little for a kiss that didn't have to wait. Having kissed until they were out of breath, they separated him and started having breakfast. Okay, I'll go about my business, and what will you do? Naruto asked, putting on his shoes at the door. I'll go home, and then about my business, but for now I'll sit here for an hour and I'll make you lunch, Sona said with a sweet smile standing next to him in a t-shirt. Okay, having answered this he left. Leaving the house, he went out of town in order to conduct a control test for his students. Walking through the trees for about an hour, he came to a rather large clearing and decided that he would conduct the test here. Having created a couple of clones for barriers, he himself went to look for Padawans. Having teleported to the mark on Rias, he got into his house having previously put on only the fox mask. As soon as he appeared, as he realized, he found all of them in the kitchen at Issei's. It's good that you are all here, Naruto said insolently sitting down next to Kaneko. Sensei, what are you doing here? Issei asked, dumbfounded, because he said that there would be no training. What if he had moved when I was sleeping with Rias? Issei thought. And I'm here to give you a test. Naruto said, looking at everyone while Rias looked at him in surprise. And what kind of test is this? Rias asked calmly, I need to find out what's under the mask. It will be a training fight, Naruto said. Hey, red-haired monkey, what's up with that? Ku said mentally. Okay, Rug, he answered and turned off the connection with Kurama so as not to hear further argument. And with whom? Kiba spoke up, who had just finished drinking his tea. With me, he said with a bloodthirsty smile. Although they did not see her, they felt her. And where, trying to say more calmly Rias, this is our chance, starting to come up with a plan to expose. Get ready and then I'll take you, Naruto said this and at the same second everyone ran into the rooms. EU Kurama and what is she up to? Naruto asked. I don't know but be careful, I don't need your Sanachka to worry, Kurama teased Naruto. Go away, Naruto snorted and began to wait for the others. After sitting like that for a few minutes, everyone came running, fully prepared for battle. Well, are you ready, Death Row? Naruto emphasized the last word. Why yes. Everyone shouted hesitantly, and at the same second, everyone disappeared in a yellow lightning bolt. And they appeared in a clearing in a barrier, after which everyone went to dump breakfast in the bushes. Oh, sorry, haha, this is always the first time, Fox said, laughing slightly. Sensei. But you couldn't warn me, Rias shouted out the whole team. My mistake, well, now let's get started, your task is to touch me or hit me with magic. Got it. Naruto said sternly and prepared to defend himself. That's it. Issei asked in surprise and received a slap on the back of the head from Rias. You idiot, you forgot who is in front of you, she looked angrily at Issei. Sorry, President, Issei apologized on his knees. Well then let's start our test. Naruto shouted and ran into battle. But as it followed from the figure of the knight, I think, Kiba who crossed his sword with the sword of the one who taught him. While they crossed swords, Rias and Aquino with the help of wings rose into the air for a better inspection of the situation, and here from the left and right sides with fists, one of the necromancer, the other with the glove of the Draga, Kaneko and Issei for an attack from the side are flying. Noticing them, he grinned and jumped over Kiba, exposing him to blows that in a word left rather large craters in the ground. Thank God Yuto managed to react and dodge, otherwise there was little left of him. Dodging, Naruto felt danger from behind and dodged Akino's lightning. Seeing this, she clicked her tongue and began to send lightning at him even stronger and faster, from which he dodged and completely forgot about Rias. In a word, while everyone was distracted, Fox was collecting a large amount of magic to attack magical energy intended for Naruto, who entered the battle from the tray immediately and still had to dodge the lightning sent by Aquino. Having knocked out Kaneko and Issei and again clashed in a sword dance with Kiba, he parried all attacks on all vital organs, when suddenly Kurama's voice was heard. "Naruto, the five-tailed Kaku appears here, it will hurt." Having said this, Kurama. Naruto did not hear Rias shouting to Kiba to let go. Kiba to the side, Rias shouted as she saw that Fox had fallen and grabbed his head and stomach. Will he dodge it or not with him, Rias thought worriedly, when suddenly an explosion occurred that hit Naruto. "The kid inside your teacher, something or someone else has appeared," Drake said to Issei, who had just regained consciousness. "Sensei!" Everyone shouted because Kaneko came to consciousness along with Issei and also felt the change in Sensei. Running up to the crater, they saw half of his mask destroyed and a bright yellow glow emanating from strange clothes with patterns on Naruto's body. "The lesson is over, well done," Naruto said with a smile, looking at the shocked faces of his charges and removing the glow. Everyone immediately saw half a face and 3 stripes on his cheeks. "So this is my task as a teacher, the law." Not finishing this, he felt that a large number of enemies had burst into the territory of his house. Everyone shouted this. They felt a colossal ki emanating from Naruto and how his pupil changed to an elongated red one like a beast. Immediately after that, he teleported home and saw how Sona was fighting off a large number of fallen in her blood. As soon as he saw this, everyone felt the imminent approach of death, and barely turning their heads they saw the one they did not want to see. After all, the last survivor told them about that massacre. POV Sona. After Naruto left on business, I went to the bedroom where we slept and barely found my clothes. As soon as I got dressed, I immediately went down to the kitchen and went to the refrigerator and saw a lot of food for one. Having chosen food for 2 dishes, katsudon and kimchi ramen. I began to cook because I would be cooking these dishes for the first time, and to wash them down, I thought that regular green tea would do. Having spent much more than an hour, I was already getting ready to leave when suddenly I felt a large number of fallen who were heading in my direction. And going out onto the porch, I saw a large number of fallen who looked at me like a thing. And here is the heiress of the Sitri clan. "I wonder what her father will do to save his daughter," said the commander of the company of the fallen. "What do you need? You are on the territory of the Gremory clan, preparing for battle," said Sona. "What we need is you to blackmail your daddy." "Oh yeah, where are my manners? My name is Gren and I am the commander of the exciting platoon of the fallen." "What? Roll your lip," Sona said angrily and bared her wings. "Wow, you are brave," Gren grinned. "Grab her but alive," he ordered and began to wait. Immediately after the commander gave the order, several fallen attacked me, from whom I began to fight back, but because of the number I did not keep up with their copies and began to miss blows. Having received a couple of medium wounds and covered in blood, I stood opposite the same fallen who mocked me. But suddenly I felt a huge force and murderous intent, but who was it coming from? And when I started looking for the source, I saw a guy in a mask on half his face, and when he saw me, he got even more angry and covered himself in a bright orange light and began to take off his mask. After taking it off, I couldn't find the words to express my shock, but at the same time, I was glad that it was him. "End Naruto," Sona said and fell unconscious. End POV Sona. Naruto's POV. After Sona fell, I didn't understand anything anymore, and just in a fit of rage I started to approach the birds who were afraid, and not just a simple one, but an animal one in front of me. I clearly heard Kurama shouting something at me, but I didn't hear him. I just kept walking towards them. As soon as I reached the first suicide bombers, I tore their heads off with my bare hands. Oh yeah, there can be up to 360 soldiers in a company, but let's say we have about 100. From this everyone shook even more and tried to leave. And as if on instinct, I folded the seals for the barrier. Seeing that they couldn't leave here, everyone lost hope of salvation and ran at me in despair. End Naruto's POV. What kind of monster are you? Gren shouted and also ran at Naruto, but as soon as a dozen fallen ran up to him and the same number of chakra paws flew out of Naruto and grabbed them and thereby tearing them apart, making a bloody rain. Seeing this, the rest all immediately ran at him with raised spears, hoping that at least they would scratch. As soon as the first two spears from different sides raised a strike, but they immediately flew off in opposite directions from kicks in a split, like Madara on the 4th BMW, into the walls of the fence and immediately blocking the sword that was intended for Naruto's heart, breaking it with just his hand and grabbing the fragment, he thrust it into his temple and threw it back with a kick in the others, from which they caught the carcass not in the best way. All this mess continued for about half an hour, during which he tore into pieces with the same thing, forming a bloody rain and leaving a small part of the mini-army. Kurama was barely able to drag Naruto into the subconscious. What happened? I don't remember anything, Naruto said, clutching his head. Could I really stop you? No, of course I knew that you are a complete idiot, but not that much, Kurama said, rubbing his head with his paws. So what happened? I don't remember. After Sona fell, I don't remember what happened next, trying to remember Naruto, but I couldn't. As soon as you lost control, you just started cutting and tearing everything in a row, you know, even for me it's just creepy. What? Naruto shouted in bewilderment, looking at the fox. Yes, by the way, Kaku just woke up here, said Ku and pointed to the sleeping five-tailed. Wow, well, hello Kaku, Naruto was surprised and said. Hello, well, hello Naruto, this is our second meeting. Koku opened his eyes. Oh yeah, Naruto smiled stupidly. Hey kid, it's time for you to go, and this is your princess began to come to her senses, Ku said sarcastically, from which the above-mentioned blushed. Okay, I'll go. Oh, and by the way, Koku, can I call you that, and what are your abilities? Naruto asked, looking at the five-tailed. Yes, you can, I'll show you my abilities, but give me control over my body, said Koku, getting up. Okay, Naruto only answered, coming out of his subconscious. As soon as Naruto came out, he immediately gave control of the body to Koku. And began to watch as Kaku began to release steam from the body to accelerate the body and penetrating power. Having released a large amount of steam, he accelerated in a split second to high speed and headed towards the rest, who were examining the new changes. As soon as a burst of supersonic impact occurred, all the rest flew into the wall or into the ground at once. And stopping Naruto began to examine what Koku did. This is a very useful ability. Fast and hits the area, thanks Koku, Naruto mentally thanked. You're welcome, go to your princess, Kaku answered. Hey, Naruto snorted and began to run to Sona. Hey Sona, are you okay? He began to question only after she had come to her senses. And Naruto, is it you, that same yellow lightning? Sona said, stroking Naruto's cheek. Yes, it's me, are you okay? Naruto asked, very worried, pressing her hand to himself. Let's keep what you saw our secret, okay? Naruto said, taking her in his arms. Oh okay, Sona blushed completely. And we also need to take a shower, Naruto said, examining himself and her. Okay, but only with you, Sona said. Okay, but first this. Naruto extended his hand to her, and after which his hand was covered in bright orange. And after that, her wounds on her body began to heal before our eyes. What is this like? She asked with relief. It's a secret, Naruto said while bringing him into the house. Thank you, Ku, Naruto thanked his friend. You're welcome, Kurama answered briefly. Immediately after that, they went into the house where they took a change of clothes and went to the shower. And at first they were both ashamed because this was the first time for them. And barely having bought themselves. They went to the table where it had not yet cooled down completely, having had lunch and going to bed because today was too stressful, and quickly falling into the kingdom of Morpheus, they fell into a deep sleep. But before that, Naruto did not forget to send a large number of clones to clean and restore the yard, as well as corpses for burning. Unknown place. Have you deciphered the letters? Asked the unknown man sitting on the throne. Yes, and soon we will go there to find the force that can destroy this world, said the silhouette that had just approached. Well, that's good. As soon as you can use this energy, then immediately go on reconnaissance, said the unknown man sitting on the throne. We will need about a week to learn it and go there for power, Mr. Astro. Good, answered the servant and went to the exit. A week later. In a dark place several torches lit up which showed several silhouettes, which were preparing for something and arming themselves to the fullest. Well, are you ready? Asked a suitable silhouette of the three in a cloak. Yes, Mr. Astro, the three said in unison. Well, Dark, Fur and Jim, be careful and bring the scroll that was written on that tablet, Astro said firmly. It will be done, Fur answered, apparently the mission commander. Well, why are you confusing it? Astro answered shortly and went off in some direction. While Astro was leaving, Fur began to do some hand movements. As soon as he finished, he touched the ground as it was written on the tablet and all three disappeared into the purple portal. As soon as all three disappeared into the portal, they appeared near the destroyed huge gates with a tattered strange sign more like a leaf. Well, what do you think, Fur? Asked one of the three. First, we will find something similar to the main building or something tight dark. Fur is right, but by the appearance of the gate you can tell that no one has lived here for a long time, said Jim. Well, let's go look, Dark suggested and wanted to say something else when the commander interrupted him. I think we should split up, and if you find something, launch a fireball into the sky, Fur said walking inside. Okay, answered the subordinate following him. As soon as they entered the gates, they saw destroyed houses that were built in the likeness of theirs in the old days. As Fur said, all three split up and went in different directions, searching and entering old houses that are already centuries old and wondering how they are still standing and not collapsing. After walking around like that, all three of them noticed the stone faces on the mountain and their number, namely 9 of which 2 were women. Not even 5 minutes had passed when a fireball appeared in the sky saying that he had found it. Heading there, all three of them stood by a large reddish building, and although the paint had faded, you could easily see the red color. Is this it? Asked Dark. It seems so, but you need to check, said Jim. Let's go, ordered Fur, going inside. As soon as Fur ordered to go, all three entered the building with the kanji fire. Entering inside and walking along the corridors, they found a few saved rooms with scrolls and one door that was separate from the others. Seeing the inscription with Ho.E, entering it they saw a spacious office with a semicircular table on which there was a large layer of dust. Looking around, the three saw 9 photographs of different people in the same hat. Approaching the table, they began to search the entire room and found only a large scroll with the kanji, forbidden, and a large diary with the inscription, for Naruto Uzumaki. Wow, this is what we need, Jim whistled. Yes, this scroll, but it looks shabby, Fur. Yeah, but who is Naruto Uzumaki, since this diary is for him, Dark said looking at the thick diary. Okay, let's read it, and then we'll go back, taking the diary in his hands, the commander said. As soon as he said this, Fur opened the first page where there was a photo attached of a woman of about 20 to 30 years old with blonde hair who was smiling. Well. Hello. You know, when you were locked in this coffin, I didn't know what I would do, because you, snot-nosed brat, were the only person close to me after those I lost. Well, I thought I should say goodbye to you, but it's already been exactly a year since you disappeared. During this time while you were gone, all 5 nations united and live in peace. Everyone from your class is already starting to date and get married, but I'm worried about Hinata who disappeared a month ago and no one knows where she went. Some people think that she committed suicide because of losing you or just went on a journey. Well, hello again, it's been quite a long time since I wrote to you over these 10 years. Sasuke returned to the village and married Sakura and they had a daughter, Sarada. She's a cute and kind girl. Also Ino married Sai unexpectedly. Yes, Shikamaru on Temari from Sand and became our ambassador, and oh yes, today I hand over the post of Hokage to Kakashi. I barely persuaded him until the last moment. He didn't want to until I threatened him that I would burn all his vulgar books. Naruto, as soon as you read this, don't be sad. Just think that we all love you. Goodbye, you became like a grandson or nephew to me. P.S. Your Bachan Tsunade, the 5th Hokage. Wow, so that's what the inscription was above the door, said Jim, turning another page and saw a group photo of 1 adult and 3 children. What is this? Looking at the photo, Dark said. This is probably this Kakashi. He remembered who will be the next head of the village. Let's go further, suggested Fur, and starting to read. Well, hello Naruto-kun, well here I am, Hokage, the position you dreamed of. It's even embarrassing somehow. They feel ashamed. Recently, Hanabi's sister was kidnapped by some Tonari and taken to the moon. Thank God Sasuke was in the village and went after her with your graduation, but during their battle on the moon, meteorites of different sizes rained down on us, but there was one huge one that was flying straight at the residence until Rock Lee destroyed it with the help of the gate. Yes, here he was able to destroy it right away. Although I wanted to immediately destroy the moon with his secret weapon, but I asked him not to do it until everyone returned. And just as you wanted, the tailed beasts became our guards, but for some reason Kurama disappeared a month ago. At first we thought that he was sealed, but after going around all the villages, nothing was found. Well, I think it's time for me to go. Bye, your sensei. And hello again. Today I am writing to you that Sasuke's daughter has already entered the academy and is doing well. And soon I want to simply convey to Sasuke because he has already proven that he is suitable for this role, and when his daughter found out about it, the whole Konoha was in an uproar, and you can't even tell that he is an Uchiha. You know, when you ended up in this coffin, I again lost a loved one who was dear to me and again I was left alone. Goodbye. P.S. Your sensei Kakashi Hatake, 6th Hokage. Well, who is this Naruto? I was really curious, Fur said, rubbing the bridge of his nose, looking at the others. No one will know, he's probably already dead since it says sealed and in a coffin here, Jim said. Let's move on, Dark said, snatching the diary. Well, hello Dobe, if you're reading this, we're all probably already dead, because you'll be imprisoned for 1,000 years and none of us will live anymore. But if you hadn't fallen under that technique then, you'd be the Hokage now and you'd help me with those Otsutsuki. It's good that the tailed ones helped me, but during the fight, the 5-tailed one just disappeared before my eyes, just like the others. And only then did we realize that this Kinshiki did something to the 9-tailed one. As soon as all the other tailed beasts saw this, they seemed to break loose and simply tore these two apart. If I merged these two, then sorry, I just like it. You know, I'm already many years old and I'm passing the post to your student Konohamaru. While I'm writing this, all of ours send you greetings and wish you happiness. Former Dobe and farewell. Your best friend Sasuke Uchiha 7th Hokage. Hello sensei, I was told all the truth about that war. I was so hurt and sad that I did not leave the house for a week. And so as soon as the 7th post was passed on to me, I immediately sat down to write you a temporary letter. Even though I am now over 35 years old, I will still consider you an older brother and sensei. The rest of the Kage of our village except for Sasuke died during the battle with the Otsutsuki. I do not know what to do next. If you instructed me before, but now I do not know what to do. And now another 10 years have passed since the last entry and the first wave of the Otsutsuki flew to our planet. Then we thought that these were the remnants of the clan, but after the second wave, your entire graduating class died in battle with them and poor Sarada had to grow up alone. But we all tried our best to support her and everyone decided to take a desperate step and sealed all the Biju in her with their consent. And as soon as she was able to curb the full power of all the Biju, we began to win against them. And when the third wave came, even Sarada could barely cope with them, and I decided to resurrect all the strong shinobi with the help of Edo Tensei. Fortunately we had DNA, although a little, but we became equal due to the restoration of past shinobi. I don't know how to say goodbye to someone and I'll just write. While your student and younger brother Konohamaru Sarutobi 8th Hokage. Who are the Otsutsuki once it was so difficult to deal with them, Dark asked in shock. Those who had great power and strength, Jim said in the same state looking at Fur. We'll read Fur next, Jim asked. Why yes. He said uncertainly because he didn't understand how all these people could fight such an enemy. Hello Lord Naruto, I am Sarada Uchiha, daughter of the 7th Hokage Sasuke Uchiha, and I don't know what to write because now there is a war for peace for a month already during which many shinobi and ordinary people have died. And I don't know what to do after the 8th Hokage died in battle saving me, while I was fighting against their commanders, although I dominated in strength and speed but they took it by numbers. In our world there are practically no shinobi left in whom the spirit of fire burns like in me. Well, it's time for me to go, goodbye. With respect, Sarada Uchiha, 9th Hokage. How do you understand this? Almost the entire human race was destroyed, and they fought to the last, Fur said with a shocked voice. I don't understand why they didn't give up when they all died, Fur said, looking for something on the pages. What are you looking for, Commander? Depending on how he was looking for something. I'm looking for the name of what we are looking for here, and I decided to resurrect all the strong shinobi with the help of Edo Tensei. Fortunately there was DNA, I found what we need, Fur said admiringly. Hey, but we weren't going to take everything. No. This is their history and strength, we only came to find resurrection magic, Fur said as if cutting off, slightly raising his voice. Oh okay, I didn't expect such an answer from the commander. Let's go to the gate, Fur commanded and leaving the office. Stop. Let's take at least the diary, Dark asked in hope. Yes, Fur answered briefly heading for the exit. As soon as they left the residence, they headed for the gate. But before that, they went to the cemetery where they saw a large number of graves where they chose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Hokage and went to their destination. To return home, they used the same seals as the first time. A purple portal appeared in front of them and, consequently, entering there and appearing in a black room from where they left. Well, here we are at home, Gil said with relief. Did you get what I asked for? Asked Astro, who approached. Yes, we got it, Troy answered briefly. Immediately after they returned they put the scroll with Edo Tensei and the diary in the archive and went their separate ways. Meanwhile, Naruto and Sona. Waking up in the morning hugging Sona, Naruto slowly got up and went to the shower. After doing all the water procedures, he went to the kitchen to cook scrambled eggs for two. He made breakfast and made tea. Naruto heard someone coming down from the second floor and saw her in his t-shirt and smiled. Good morning kitten, laughing face, Naruto said smiling. Good fox, Sona said also smiling. How are you? Nothing hurts, Naruto asked for confidence looking at Sona. Yes, everything is fine, but I still can't believe that you are the same Yellow Lightning, she said in disbelief. Yes, it's me, caught red-handed. You have nowhere to go today, the guy asked hintingly because today Gremory will challenge Razor to a fight. Well, it seems like there is nowhere. I'll definitely be a judge at Rias's request. Wait, how do you know? Sona asked, starting to remember, and then squinting her eyes, because no one else knows this except them. I trained them. Naruto answered without any hesitation, sipping tea. What, are you that fox? she asked in shock. Yeah. He answered carefree. I see, little fox. What are you going to do? Kitten asked with interest. I'm going to hell to Lucifer about the reward. It's time to hide Naruto. And for what? Sona purred, approaching and sitting on his lap. It's a surprise. Naruto said as he approached and kissed her passionately. Letting out a light groan after the kiss. Well, it's time for me to go, just like it probably is for you. Naruto asked, looking at the wall. Can you give me a lift? Sona said in anticipation. Okay, but the first time you might throw up. He warned her. Got it, let's just get ready. And let's go, Sona said, going up to the second floor. Let's just hurry up, Naruto said in pursuit. Right after that they got together. Naruto put his hand on her shoulder and teleported them to the school, and surprisingly Sona didn't throw up. I'm pleasantly surprised, unlike Riasa's team you didn't throw up, Naruto said, taking out training clothes and a mask from the seal and starting to pass on. I'll consider this a compliment, and, she said, only now saw that Naruto was passing on and exposed his body where a pumped-up body was visible from which any girl would not be able to take her eyes off. Hey Sona, are you okay? Naruto asked worriedly. After all, her nose was bleeding. Oh why yes, everything is fine, she said, wiping the blood. After changing their clothes they went to the KON, Occult Science Club. On the way they were met by Kiba, who said that he would accompany them. They approached the door to the club where they heard someone yelling at each other. When they entered they saw some blonde guy groping an unfamiliar girl and starting to mock Rias, which is why Issei couldn't stand it and ran headlong at his opponent and consequently flew into the wall from the impact into the wall. As soon as the dust settled, everyone felt the murderous lust emanating from the man in the mask. What is this? Some trash wants to challenge me, the blonde said arrogantly. You know, piece of, I don't like only two things, 1, when someone harms my family, and 2, I just hate arrogant people, Naruto said angrily, trying to restrain himself. Oh, who are you calling a piece of? You are carrion that I will just kill now, Ryder said, revealing his wings, not paying any attention to the faces of Riasa's team, who were in fear. After all, they knew what their sensei was like when he was angry. Listen, does he remind you of anyone? Kurama asked with a hint of humor. Yes, and he does remind you very much. We need to rein him in, Naruto answered, watching the Goldilocks swing her arm to strike. Seeing this, the students of the academy were already burying Riser, while the others Naruto. You are too arrogant, that's all Razor heard before he got a kick to the head. As soon as he wanted to stand on his head, Naruto's foot was already standing. You know, you touched my student and you show too much arrogance that it makes me sick. Naruto said, creating a Rasengan in his hand and already swinging it. He was stopped by Sona's voice. Now stop it or you'll get it from me, Sona said, approaching Naruto, and after these words everyone looked sideways at her in shock. Of course, it's not every day that you see a girl threatening almost the strongest creature near them. Sorry, I got carried away, and I had to scare him, Naruto said, scratching his head. That's good, you're okay there, she accepted the eruption from the fox and turned to Razor. Why yes, I'm okay. If it weren't for her, I don't know what would have happened, Razor answered, and thought what would have happened if it weren't for Sona. That's it, Naruto said lazily and looked at Graphia. I think they're already waiting for me, Naruto asked, approaching her. Yes, the Lord is already waiting for you, Graphia said, approaching him. Well, that's good, so if you don't win this children's fight, I'll drive you so hard that you'll want to die, he agreed, and then Naruto said sternly, looking at his students. Why yes. Everyone shouted. After that Naruto and Graphia left the others and disappeared in the teleportation circle and appeared in hell near a huge mansion. Therefore, entering it, they went to Surzek's office where Sona's father was present. Knocking on the door and hearing, "Come in," they entered it and sat down on the provided chairs. "Hello, Mr. Fox or Yellow Lightning," Lucifer said with respect. Hello, thank you for taking the time to tell me and just call me Fox, Naruto also said with respect. Fox, meet this gentleman lord standing in the head of the clan. Sasuke introduced Sona's father, which made Naruto almost choke on air. I didn't expect to see him here at all. Hello, Naruto said hesitantly, shaking his hand. Well, let's get straight to the point, the Lord of Hell said with a serious look. Okay, I'll just ask you to make me a demon, Naruto said with a serious look, and as soon as they heard this, they were very surprised. This is Mr. Fox, you are not a demon, and if not, then what is the reason for becoming one? The one who moved away first asked Sitri. This is for the girl and let's do without Mr. Naruto said, but when mentioning her, he said warmly. Okay, but if it's not a secret who she is since you want to become a demon, Lucifer asked with a smile. She is a demon and I want to be with her and our feelings are mutual, Naruto said sweetly. Okay, does she have a name? Sitri asked with genuine interest, not expecting his daughter at all. Yes, but we need to ask her, Naruto said, standing up and putting the Flight of the Thunder God mark on the wall. But why? Sasuke asked in surprise. Well, she doesn't want that someone knew this, and she is now in the world of the living, Lee drawled a little. Okay, Graphia teleport him and, he wanted to finish but saw Naruto disappear in yellow lightning. Well, it was not for nothing that they called him Yellow Lightning, looking at where Lee said Lucifer. And I wonder who that girl is, Sitri said sitting down in a chair to rest. Naruto's POV. As soon as I teleported, I began to look around where I appeared. And thank God that in the student council office near Sona. And as soon as I realized where I appeared, I immediately got a punch in the jaw from Sona. Hey stop it's me, I shouted and started waving my arms to the sides. Oh, I'm sorry, it was an accident, you didn't get hurt, she apologized and ran up to me and I wonder where she learned to hit like that. No, nothing, but where do you hit like that? I asked and took off my mask. Yes, it's a long story and why are you here, did you come to support the students, she asked, holding out her hand. No, I'm here for you, it's just that here's the deal, I said, accepting help. Well, what's the deal, Fox, she asked, rising on her toes for a kiss. Well, I met your father at the Lord of Hell, Naruto said barely, but after that Sona's eyes widened in surprise. What? You didn't tell me about us, worried that her father would forbid her. Hey kid. Is the princess worried about you? Kurama said maliciously. Kurama is right, Koku supported. No, don't worry, that's exactly what I want to tell him about, but after I get the reward. Woohoo. Okay, you can tell me, and what's the surprise? She calmly exhaled, hugging his neck. It's a surprise, but I'll tell you one thing, you'll like it. I said this, I approached her lips and kissed her when suddenly the door to the office opens and Tsubaki comes in and sees us, and we don't know what to do. Hey, why didn't you tell me that someone was coming? I nervously asked my schizophrenics. What do you mean? They both turned on the fools, but I heard them laughing. I'll fix it for you later. Having said this, I cut the connection. Huh? What's going on here? She asked in disbelief, seeing her mistress kissing the school idol. It's not what you thought, Sona shouted, all red as a lobster. Sona, can you trust her? I asked seriously, looking at Tsubaki. Yes, she is a trusted person, she said quietly, hiding behind my back. Mistress, how should I understand this? Tsubaki asked, looking serious. Okay, I'll tell you everything, but you must remain silent until your last breath, I said in a cold tone. End POV Naruto. Immediately after that, we told the whole truth and asked no one to tell yet. Although throughout the whole story, Tsubaki did nothing but be surprised, and at the end of the story we decided that we would not reveal all the cards for now. Returning back, Naruto said that she does not want to reveal her identity yet. Hearing this, the two demons were saddened and decided to conduct a ritual. I'll say right away that I came up with this myself, to become a demon. Going into another room for the ritual, Sasuke asked to take off his outerwear while his servants would apply hieroglyphs. Having taken off everything, they saw a pumped-up body without a single fold of fat, and all the female servants began to undress him mentally and blush. Applying hieroglyphs, Sasuke approached him and held out the figure of the king. Yes, he has these figures, and it turns out that Naruto becomes a demon with the figure of the king, and put it on his chest. And after that, the figure was absorbed into him and everyone in the room felt a huge force surpassing them all together. While everyone tried not to fall, everyone noticed that Naruto had beautiful black wings with orange stripes. Here are the updates. I am very grateful to you. And how grateful we are, Kurama said to the subconscious with a grin. Here are the updates. I am very grateful to you. And how grateful we are, Kurama said to the subconscious with a grin. Right after that, everyone looked at his wings and couldn't take their eyes off those beautiful demonic wings. But as soon as it was all over, they looked at Naruto, who was standing and looking at them. And they are beautiful, she will probably envy me, imagining how Sona will envy his wings. Fox, who are you talking about? Graphia, who came to consciousness first. Oh, about your girlfriend, Naruto said with a sweet smile. I see, she somehow drawled. Well, okay, bye, you've probably already won, remembering his students Naruto. Yeah, come visit us again, and maybe you can introduce us to your girlfriend, Sasuke said with a smile. Later, bye. Having said this, Naruto disappeared and literally a minute later a maid ran into the office and said that Rias and her servants had won. Which Lucifer was actually happy about and decided to invite guests to a feast in honor of the victory. Unknown location. Well, what did your spies find out? Asked the silhouette sitting on the throne. Mr. Astro, the younger sister of Sasuke's Lucifer, defeated Riser Phoenix in the raiding game, and in honor of this he will throw a feast where he invites guests. Zero reported one of the silhouettes. Okay, we will go there and demonstrate our power, Astro said, getting up from the throne. It will be done, bowing, the silhouette said and left. Having teleported to his home, Naruto fell asleep. Having lay like that for about a few hours, he woke up and went to the shower and got ready for the next school day. Having prepared for school, Naruto had dinner and went to bed. The next day, approaching the entrance to the academy, everyone stared at him and began to whisper. Who is this handsome guy studying with us? One of the first girls said while undressing the stranger with a glance. I don't know, he can compete with Naruto-kun, the girl standing behind her said to her friend. Look at those stripes on his cheeks, someone asked in surprise. And really, with this he looks like a cat or a fox. And everyone was discussing something like this until the student council president came out and approached him. Let me remind you that our couple decided that Naruto would stop wearing a mask. Well, hi Naruto, Sona said with a sweet smile while everyone who was listening fell into the astral plane. Hi Sona, how are you? With a smile, like 32 is not the limit, he said, which made everyone start bleeding from their noses. Let's go inside, Sona suggested, heading to the school. Yeah, Naruto said and followed her. After that, everyone started praising him even more and calling him fox or kitten behind his back, having somehow finished studying under the same dumbfounded looks. Naruto was heading home, but before leaving, Sona met him. Hi, you're happy, Naruto said, offended, puffing out his cheeks. With what? Completely not understanding what he was talking about, but she heard perfectly well how everyone now called him. As if you didn't hear, Naruto answered with a slight smile, looking at the smiling Sona. Ah, you mean that they now call you fox or kitten behind your back, she answered with a smile. Yes, and did you want something or go for a walk? Agreed and asked Naruto. Well, how can I tell you? Sona mumbled. Tell it like it is, Naruto asked calmly. Okay, Mr. Sasuke invited guests to a feast in honor of Rias's victory and I want you to come with me, she said directly. Okay, let's go to my place, he agreed to the offer and called him to her in order to choose a costume for himself. Yeah, Sona answered and took his hand for teleportation. Having appeared at home, Naruto asked to wait for him in the living room while he took a shower and chose suitable clothes. I almost forgot, Sona was already in a dress, and she changed in the student council office. After waiting for her partner, Sona began to get bored until she heard Naruto coming down from the second floor. But what she saw took her out of consciousness. In front of her stood a tall blonde man with blue eyes, dressed in a solid black suit that fit him like a glove and, in addition, he was holding a fox mask in his hand. "You are simply gorgeous, I have no words," Sona said in a shocked voice. "Thank you, but you are also just excellent," complimenting Sona said Naruto. "Thank you, let's go," accepting the compliment she asked. "Yes," Naruto said briefly, entering the formed teleportation circle. As soon as he entered the circle, they appeared at the entrance to the same mansion, but the difference was different, there were other demons of different clans and simply higher ones around. Seeing who appeared, everyone stared at the daughter of Lord Sitri, who was holding the hand of an unknown person in a mask. Passing through the demons, our couple saw Sasuke and Sona's father. Let me give him the name Kent, I just did not find information about him or I'm stupid. Noticing his daughter, Kent was very surprised to see Fox and decided to approach them like Sasuke. "Hello Fox," Sona, Lucifer greeted. "Daughter, do you have anything to tell me?" Wanting answers about them, Kenta asked. "Father, I love him and will only be with him, even though he is a human," she said firmly, looking at them. "Stop Sona, don't you know that he is already her human and are you that girl Fox?" Sasuke asked in surprise. "What do you mean, no longer a human?" she asked, staring at Naruto. "Oh, well, why did you tell her? What a surprise it would have been," Naruto said offendedly, revealing his wings. And as soon as he did this, all that was visible was the beautiful demonic wings. "They are beautiful," Sona said, trying to touch them. "Not more beautiful than you," Naruto said, taking her by the waist, but Lord Sitri interrupted them. "Cough. Cough, we are basically here," Kenta said, coughing into his fist. "Oh, sorry," the couple said in unison. "Yes, nothing and yes Sona, I am not against your relationship with Fox, I still need to tell your mother," Sitri said with a smile and went to look for his wife. "Well, let's start feasting and dancing," the Lord of Hell shouted. After which everyone began to drink, eat, dance. Having had fun and praising their students for the victory, they did not notice how unknown people in cloaks with the sign of a black star appeared in the hall. Until one of the guards saw them. "Stop, who goes there, show the invitation or the escort," asked the guard pointing the halberd, but without waiting for an answer his head fell to the ground. "How bad, but we came to declare ourselves, really Juz," said one of the three unknown. "Yeah, and they are still pointing weapons at us," answered Juz. "I'm still thinking whether to write a description of the character or you imagine some kind of villain." "What are you doing here?" Sasuke asked coldly. "Oh, sorry for being late," the first unknown began to mock. "Well, enough Mako, otherwise we won't have time to show our strength, defer," Mako just stopped mocking. "I'll ask again, why are you here?" asked Sasuke again. "As we said, declare us," Fur said, folding the Edo Tensei seal. Which Naruto recognized. "Not!" Naruto shouted. "What?" Sasuke looked at him puzzled, as did the others. "Get out of here, they can summon strong opponents that you won't be able to handle," Naruto shouted running at Fur. "Let's all leave quickly," Sasuke shouted planning the evacuation. "No, stay," Sona shouted, who was being held by her father. "Stop Sona, since he said so, then that's how it is." "Wow, I'm surprised that you know what this is, but it's too late," Fur said, folding the last seal and a coffin appeared with the inscription, "Third Generation Fire Shadow," which everyone saw open. "Let's leave and see what happens," Juz said. "Yeah, but I really wanted to take part," Mako answered sadly. "What, where am I?" again Edo Theseus, an elderly man asked, coming out of the coffin, looking at the premises. "Oh old man," Naruto said stuttering, taking off his mask, where everyone saw a young man of about 16 to 18 years old with 3 stripes on his cheeks and a student of their school. "And Naruto?" Hiruzen asked in shock. "And Naruto?" Hiruzen asked in shock, and that's all he said, and at that very second his body was taken under control. "Well hello old man," Naruto said in a dead voice, and tears involuntarily began to flow. "Sorry Naruto, but I'm already under control, pull yourself together," said Hiruzen, who was already prepared for battle. "Oh okay," Naruto said, having somehow pulled himself together. "That's good," Hiruzen said, smiling, and ran into taijutsu on Naruto. Naruto, having somehow pulled himself together, rushed at the third and battle. Raising his fist to the side of the third's face, which he blocked with his hand and redirected to the side, delivering a blow with his knee in the chest, but the block he put up with his hands did not allow this. Naruto jumped over Hiruzen's back. In the jump, Naruto created 2 clones to distract him until he found a moment to attack the race shuriken. While the third was destroying the clones, as a result of which a smoke screen appeared from which Naruto jumped out with a Rasen shuriken and threw it at Hiruzen, who clearly did not expect this, having received severe damage. And surprisingly, the body did not recover, which gave him hope for victory. Why was he able to throw a Rasen shuriken? Because kurama supposedly gives his natural chakra. "This is your chance, my body does not recover, which means there will be no need to seal," Hiruzen shouted. Breaking off the seal for shadow clones and release of the 5, great combination technique. "Good, covered with kurama mod and releasing steam to speed up," Naruto said, creating 2 Rasen shuriken from the chakra of his paws. As soon as he answered, the techniques of the 5 verses flew at him. But due to the activated modes, Naruto dodged, leaving dents behind him, heading to grandfather. At the moment of the collision, both fighters met each other's eyes, but one was happy, and the other was in tears. "You're doing well, grandson," that's all Sarutobi said before disappearing. Hearing this, Naruto fell to his knees and wiped the tears from his eyes. 5 minutes after it was all over, Sona and her father ran up to him. "And Naruto, are you okay?" "Nothing hurts," Sona asked, very worried, holding back her tears. "Naruto, are you okay?" Kent asked, worried about the condition of his daughter's beloved. "Why yes," Naruto said in a lifeless voice, hugging Sona tightly. Well, everything is okay, everything will be fine," Sona said, stroking her boyfriend's head. "He was the first one who was dear to me," Naruto said, barely holding back, "and these creatures resurrected him and made him fight again. I hate them," Naruto shouted, starting to shed tears. Not paying any attention to the gathered crowd including Rias and her servants. "Rias. I didn't think that our sensei is Naruto," Rias said in shock. "Is he really the president?" Akino asked looking at the crying Naruto. "In what sense Akino?" Rias asked looking at her queen. "President, she means our Naruto always smiled, although it was not visible under the mask and no one saw him sad or something like that," answered Akino Kiba's question. "What kind of past does he have?" Issei voiced his thoughts out loud. "Who knows," said Rias watching as the object of their discussion rose with the help of Sona's father. After their conversation, Naruto, having risen with the help of Sona, trudged to the chambers that Surzex provided. Having reached the room, they safely entered it and decided to take a shower with Sona, who did not leave Naruto's side for a step. They took a bath for about an hour just relaxing in it, came out more or less cheerful and fell onto the bed hugging in only their underwear. Having fallen asleep hugging, they more or less slept, woke up and went to the kitchen to cook. But remembering where they went to the dining room, "I don't know what it's called in the mansion where they eat," having gone down our couple noticed Surzek with Grafia and Rias with the others. Quietly sitting down and waiting for breakfast, Lucifer decided to start the conversation. "Naruto, how are you?" Worried about his condition, Surzex asked. "I'm fine. Ouch, Naruto answered dryly, for which he received a kick in the leg from Sona. Okay, you know what happened yesterday, Sasuke asked seriously, remembering with what strength Naruto fought with that old man. Why yes, this technique is called Edo Tensei, and with its help you can summon warriors from the past or something like that, and to summon you need to have the energy that I have and the DNA of the person being summoned, but how did they get the DNA? Naruto answered angrily. What do you mean by this? Sasuke asked with the same seriousness while everyone was listening attentively. That this energy is from my world and the DNA is also from mine, Naruto answered while everyone present was speechless. From your world? Issei asked in surprise. Yes, and if these got DNA much stronger than humans, then this world may come to an end. And how strong are they? Sasuke asked with a hint of fear, worrying about the whole world rather than hell. To be precise, about 3 to 4 people can compete with me, and if they all attack, then I will not win. Throwing his head back, Naruto answered already feeling breakfast. They need to be stopped and urgently, Ria said while everyone was laying out food. Having started the meal, everyone was thinking about what Naruto had said, who was already finishing his food and was about to get up when he suddenly heard the voices of Kurama and Kaku. Naruto, Son Goku of the Four-Tailed will arrive now, Kurama warned. And it will hurt a bit, Goku said with concern. I already warned him before you arrived, Ku sarcastically. As soon as they said this, Naruto felt the same pain as when the five-tailed beast appeared. Okay, as soon as he answered, pain pierced his whole body, which made his legs give way and he fell. Naruto! Sona shouted, instantly appearing next to him like the others. Everything will be fine, it will pass now, Naruto answered, gritting his teeth in pain. What's wrong with you? That's not all, Sasuke asked incomprehensibly. Yes, so an old friend appeared, Naruto answered mysteriously. An old friend? Everyone asked incomprehensibly. Then, Naruto said waving his hand, getting up. Everything passed, Sona asked looking at him. Yes, Naruto answered briefly. After breakfast, everyone went to their own places and our heroes of two worlds went to school. And having met Son Goku, Naruto went to the student council office, and he just entered brazenly and sat down on the couch under the stunned faces. But as soon as Genshiro Saji shouted at him, until Naruto released his demonic wings. As soon as everyone saw them, they fell silent and began to wait for the president, and while he was waiting, he was completely bored and went down to the subconscious. Where he saw a man of about 40 years old with 4 tails and red eyes who was sitting bored next to a young man of about 24 years old with white hair, a round face and also 5 tails. Hey Goku, son, how are you doing? Naruto asked with a smile, looking at the Biju. Everything is as usual, but don't you want to train here? With interest to at least watch the training, Naruto said to Son. But can I? Naruto asked in surprise, looking at the grinning four-tailed. Yes, but will you train techniques here, and the body is not like what you learn here, you will just have to work it out and that's it, Son explained. Wow, thanks Son, Naruto shouted, already imagining what he would do. And while he came out of the subconscious, feeling Sona nearby. And indeed, literally at that very second, Sona entered the office. But seeing Naruto, she smiled and asked him to wait until she finished her business. After studying for a couple more days, and having met a couple more times with new cohabitants in the subconscious, namely the 2-tailed Matatabi and the 3-tailed Isabu, and also feeling pain, they decided to all gather in the con, including Sona's team with Naruto. So why did we gather here? Asked Tsubaki looking at her president, who laid her head on Naruto's shoulder. Sona, didn't you tell them or what? Asked Rias drinking tea with Akino. Yeah, I forgot a little, smiling stupidly, still sitting. Yeah, that's what you did to her Naruto, asked Rias looking at him. Why me right away? Offendedly puffing out his cheeks, from which everyone almost said cutie, but seeing Sona's deadly gaze everyone looked away. Okay, let's move on. So we gathered because the Black Star organization declared war on Hell, Ria said as seriously as possible, but when he heard the last words everyone was in shock, and Naruto began to have bad memories. So it's war again, Naruto said in a dead voice from which everyone broke out in a cold sweat. Naruto, what are you talking about? Sona asked looking into blue eyes with pain. Well, do you remember what I said after that incident at breakfast? Naruto asked, getting ready to tell about his whole life and seeing nods and puzzled looks from the others, he began his story. But Naruto kept silent about some. He told about his birth, about his parents, and the first who recognized him, Yumino Iruka and Hiruzen's grandfather. After telling about some missions with the team and traveling with the Godfather, when mentioning Jiraiya, he had a sad smile, which everyone noticed, and Sona asked him, where is he now? To which Naruto replied, he died in battle from his former student Nagato. After saving his friend Gaara and the attack of Nagato's puppets, where he defeated him. And after thinking a little, Naruto decided to tell about how he ended up in prison in the fight with the demon Satori who appeared from the box of bliss, and when telling the story, no one could believe that he was in prison, albeit mistakenly. After telling a couple more stories from life, for Naruto the most difficult thing began to tell, namely about the Fourth Shinobi World War, where at first he did not know because he was on an island under guard and learned to control the power of his friend. Yes, he told about the Bijou and Jinchuriki. And as soon as he was able to master it, he immediately felt a huge number of shinobi clusters in one place and headed there. Everyone sat and listened silently without a single sound, but heard about his childhood and losses, looked at him with sympathy. But Naruto told almost the entire war and the battle with the goddess, and the most interesting part began. Well, when we had already sealed this Kagaya, I went down to the ground and felt some discomfort in my body, but I didn't pay attention to it and went to the team. And after walking a few meters, I fell and felt great pain and some chains around me and everything was dark, and only, having finished the last words of her story and sighed heavily. I don't know how you endured this, Sona said with sad eyes, hugging Naruto. Hush, hush, I'm fine because I have you. He stroked her head and passionately kissed her, not paying attention to the others at all. While everyone's faces were flushed, Rias decided to interrupt them. Ahem. Are we disturbing you? She said calmly and a little enviously, because Issei only thinks about the harem and is slow-witted when it comes to any kind of relationship. No, you're not interfering, the couple said in unison, and Sona sat on Naruto's lap. Well, now to Surzex, Rias said, creating a teleportation circle to hell. And the boy doesn't waste time, Isabu said. Not like before, Kurama said, remembering the past Naruto. And what do you think about the Black Star, remembering the resurrection of the third Matatabi said. But the boy was partly lucky that the bodies of the resurrected are not restored, Sun confirmed. Hey, where's Kaku? Matatabi asked, examining the kitchen. He's sleeping, as always, Kurama answered his sister's question. As soon as they appeared in the lower world, everyone was sent to Surzex for negotiations with the rest of the factions for the general destruction of the Black Star. Passing by the rooms, Naruto asked Sona to find them a room for the night. Kitten, can you find us a room? There will be a surprise for you at night, asked Naruto, and then whispered in her ear and bit her. Oh okay, she answered embarrassedly and went to search. That's good, let's go, said Naruto looking at the back of Sona leaving, and asked those standing nearby. Yes, everyone said in chorus. And they continued walking to the office, and along the way everyone began to disperse. Until Naruto, Rias, and Issei remained. Arriving at the office, everyone saw Surzex and 4 more personalities. Entering it, Naruto leaned against the wall and began to wait, and Rias and Issei sat on chairs. Well, let's begin, getting up from the chair as a sign of greeting, Surzex said. Surzex, what happened? Asked Mikhail looking at the leader of the demons. I also became interested in Surzex, and who this guy is, looking at him and Naruto in turn. Please pay a little attention, this is Naruto Uzumaki, and the one who defeated the resurrected warrior from another world. asking for attention and introducing Naruto, Sasuke said and told about his achievements. What? Yes, I don't, when I won't believe it. In just a few days I lost about 200 of my wards because of the Black Star, and we couldn't even seriously injure him. And as soon as one of us came close or magic almost hit him, he disappeared in yellow lightning like that creature that killed over 100 of its subordinates, remembering one of the skirmishes with the Black Star on the battlefield and the unknown man in the cloak. He had a cloak? Naruto asked, remembering his father. And stand still, Mutt, Azazel said, and at the same moment everyone felt colossal pressure, and why everyone in the mansion fell to their knees, greedily inhaling air. Once again you call me that and your entire faction will be destroyed, do you understand me? Naruto said, approaching the leader of the fallen. I understand, he could barely say, and the pressure disappeared in that very second. Please change, forgive me, I'll go, and yes, that was my father and they probably have much stronger puppets. Naruto apologized and finally, before leaving, said who it was. As soon as he left, everyone began to talk about the number of troops of both their own and the enemy. But they had one problem, they did not know the strength of the enemy. But thank God there were those who listened to Naruto's story. So how strong are they, Rias? Sasuke seriously asked his sister. Well, as Naruto-san said, only 2 to 3 people can compete with him, Rias answered, remembering the story. Then only a few, that's not bad, but we will have to take on as many members of the organization as possible, Mikhail offered his idea. Okay, let's agree on that, and now I ask you to forgive me, I have things to do, Gremory agreed and apologized before leaving. Nothing, we also have things to do, Mikhail said, getting up from his chair and disappeared. Well, it's time for me too, the leader of the fallen retreated. Having dispersed, everyone went to bed, and our heroes did other things, from which everyone could not get enough sleep. Our couple woke up around noon. Getting out of bed and going to the bathroom, they took all the free procedures and went to the kitchen to have lunch. Going down to the table, they were met by everyone in the mansion. Seeing Naruto and Sona, Sasuke smiled with graphia, while everyone else blushed and tried not to look at the guy. Have a nice day, everyone, they said in unison and sat down on chairs. Why are you all so exhausted? Sona asked, completely unaware of what was wrong with everyone. Sona, how are you feeling? Rias asked, having somehow overcome her embarrassment. Are you okay? Sona answered, but after her question everyone blushed again and turned away. How can I put it more gently, you didn't let everyone get enough sleep, Sasuke decided to answer, but only he said Naruto and Sona lost it and they blushed. Sorry, we won't do it again, Naruto mumbled, saving Sona, who was still blushing even more. Nothing, Sasuke waved his hand and began to eat. After lunch, Naruto and Sona decided to walk around the city. Passing by a jewelry store, Naruto decided to buy a necklace for his girlfriend. Having bought her a beautiful necklace with a sapphire, they went to a restaurant to have lunch. Entering the restaurant, many girls immediately turned their attention to Naruto because of his appearance and the stripes on his cheeks, which did not make him ugly, but on the contrary, decorated him. Having somehow had a bite to eat in the restaurant, our couple went back to the lower world. Only a couple of days had passed since the last campaign in the human world, and in the meantime, all 3 Francis were gathering the strongest warriors, which Naruto personally selected. There were no more than 12,000 warriors. So all the members of the Occult Sciences Club and the Student Council team gathered for the war. So now let's return to the main character, who was having lunch with everyone at the table. Suddenly, Sona threw up on the floor. Are you okay? Naruto asked worriedly. Yes, everything is fine, I just threw up, that happened yesterday. Why didn't you tell me earlier? It could be something serious, Naruto said, just so she wouldn't be on the battlefield. Well, congratulations to you, brat, on the new addition, the fox sneered in his subconscious. Kurama is right, congratulations, but now you don't have to look for excuses, Son Goku supported his brother. What do you mean? She's carrying our child under her heart, Naruto asked, to which he received a positive answer. And returning to Sona, he smiled as widely as possible and hugged her tightly. While everyone did not understand what was happening, including the girl herself, the Lord of Hell decided to confirm his first thoughts. Naruto-kun, and Sona, after all, asked Surzex, looking at the smiling young man. Yeah, he answered briefly and instantly became serious, which seriously scared the mother of his child. What are you talking about, Naruto? I have no idea what's going on, Sona asked. I forbid you to go to the battlefield, the guy firmly said, looking at the puzzled girl. Why? She asked. Because you are pregnant, Naruto said with a pause, looking at the girl pounced on him. Is it true, is it true? She asked again, not believing it. Yes. Hugging her even tighter. Wait, what will my parents say? We're 18 after all, imagining what her parents would say to them. Don't be afraid, I'm taking full responsibility, Naruto said and began to lift Sona into his arms like a princess. What are you doing? The girl, who hadn't expected this, blushed deeply. Nothing, you're just under my supervision 24/7 now, not paying any attention to others. Okay, Sona gave in immediately. Carrying Sona to their room where she fell asleep. Returning back, Naruto was extremely serious, which everyone noticed. I'm telling you right away that I may not return and I'll ask you to take care of Sonia and my child. He said these words, everyone froze in place and couldn't believe them. Okay, I'll personally take care of them if the outcome of the war is lethal for you, he said so that Naruto didn't have to worry. Thank you, Naruto said and smiled sincerely. Well, there are a couple of days left before the start, he said, the estimated time before the battle. And then it will begin. I've already prepared myself mentally as much as possible. Now at the base of the Black Star there was a meeting about the beginning of the invasion of the lower world. And there were the three who called the third Hokage and Naruto's father with Kakashi. Mr. Astro, all the preparations are almost ready, reported Jim. Good, and how are things with our slaves? Astro said arrogantly looking at the summoned. Everything is just fine, although they are trying to free themselves, answered Jeep and went to the others. As soon as we get comfortable, I will personally tear you apart. Minato said with undisguised anger. Minato-sensei, don't be angry, as soon as we get comfortable. I will personally finish them off, Kakashi said more calmly. Good, he only answered. Can I ask a question? Fur asked, approaching them. Go ahead, Kakashi said, turning to him and wondering what kind of question. You are the fourth and sixth Hokage. Having said these words, Fur began to observe the reaction of these two. And I didn't have to wait long because you could see on their faces, shock, surprise, and anger, and the anger itself comes from the fact that they were again summoned from the world of the dead and who knows where. How do you know? Minato asked, trying to contain his hatred. So I was right and I can ask one more question, Fur immediately asked after confirming his first question. Well, yes, we are the fourth and sixth and Kakashi answered his question. Who is Naruto Uzumaki? Having asked his question, he immediately noticed the purest hatred and great sadness in the eyes of both of them. How dare you pronounce this name? Both shouted in unison. Because of the enormous emotions, these two were able to free themselves from control and begin to attack everyone in a row. While everyone did not expect this, they were unable to give a worthy rebuff. And how could they give it to them? Because Yellow Lightning and the copy ninja herself are against them. Having started a real massacre in the face of the enemy of the Black Star, these two killed everyone in a row until they were taken under control. Be glad that you took control of the beginning, frozen a couple of centimeters from the temple of the head of Astro, said Minato, and becoming at attention. Hey you, if you say the name of my student and the son of my sensei one more time, you will die. Kakashi addressed Fur with such a look that everyone became scared and even Yellow Lightning. I understand, he just said, nervously swallowing a lump in his throat. Immediately after that, everyone began to count the losses. Mr. Astro, according to our calculations, we lost 729 members of the organization and 171 wounded. Also, about 8,100 of our followers remained, the girl in the hood and cloak scolded. Okay, and so that this does not happen again, Astro agreed and warned. Day X. Mini army of 3 factions led by Sasuke, Michael, Azazel and Naruto, and behind them all the rest except for the student council, whom Naruto asked to look after her. Well, Sasuke, do you remember what I said then? The blonde asked, turning to the Lord of Hell. Yes, I remember, but you, Sasuke wanted to finish, but Naruto interrupted him. I don't know if I can do it. Naruto said, trying to think about a good outcome. But in a fight against those he loved, he tries with all his might to restrain himself. Okay, I'll do it if the outcome is disastrous. Thank you. I love you, Sona, thanking Satan and whispering his thoughts out loud. Don't worry, we're with you, Kurama supported him. Yes, we're with you, and if something goes wrong, you can try that mode, Son Goku also supported him. Thank you, Naruto said and thought for a bit. But about that mode, I'm not sure. After all, I can be in it for about 7 minutes, and then I fall powerless for 3 minutes. Well, if you have to use it, we'll look after you, Kaku said with a worried voice like everyone else. Thank you, sincerely thanking all his friends. Well, if you die, I, the 9-tailed Kyubi no Yoko, give my word as the strongest of the 9 Bijou that your beloved and your child will not be harmed and no one will touch them, having first pulled Naruto into the subconscious, and then into oath form and bowed Kurama, and now him and everyone else. I remind you that in Naruto's subconscious there is a house, and the tailed beasts are in human form because of Hagoromo. We also take an oath to protect your loved ones, doing the same actions the rest. Thank you, trying to say Naruto through the surging tears of joy and running up to everyone and hugging. Hush hush, we understand and know everything, rejoicing for his first human friend. Somehow calming down, he returned to reality and seeing the uncomprehending looks of the heads of the 3 factions and the participants of the CON. Not understanding what was happening, the blonde noticed moisture on his cheeks and then tears. Wiping them away, he said that everything was fine and began to prepare for battle. And just in time, because only 200 meters from them, teleportation circles began to appear, and a huge number appeared from them, demons, fallen and renegade demons on a leash, and then something that made Naruto's heart ache. The appearance of those who were dear to him. His father and sensei. Minato's POV. Well, here I am again forced to visit another war. Appearing with Kakashi on a spacious field near this freak Astro, I saw an army of different species at 150 to 200 meters, led by 4 silhouettes. Having given chakra to the eyes, I began to question them. The first I saw was a red-haired guy of about 20 to 25 years old, I think. By the way, he is not an Uzumaki, but oh well. Here is the second, a black-haired man with black wings, middle-aged. And the third one looks a lot like a feudal lord, all in golden armor. And what about the fourth? And he is a blonde like me. Wait, what? He is dressed like our ANBU and has a leaf bandage. You need to give a little more chakra to the eyes. End POV Minato. And no, it can't be. Kakashi is here, Minato said, not believing his eyes, and tears involuntarily began to appear in his eyes. Who is Minato-sensei, not understanding from whom he was looking at the state of his sensei. Naru, he is here, the fourth said in a trembling voice. What, but how? Kakashi said, not believing what was happening, doing the same with chakra to detect Naruto, and literally less than 10 seconds had passed. Tears of sadness and joy also flowed from his other side. No, maybe how? Falling into the same state as his sensei. While everyone was watching the state and conversation of their puppets, for tried to remember this name. And not remembering it, he took out that diary and began to look for this name. It's impossible, how did this happen? Having found the right page, Fur said out loud near Astro. What is it, what's impossible? He began to look at his subordinate with interest, and seeing the shock and fear, he became serious. Mr. Astro, on the side of the three factions there is someone who is stronger than these two combined. Fur said with undisguised fear, trying to somehow suppress it. What, but who can be stronger than warriors from another world, not understanding what was happening, because someone appeared on the battlefield who could interfere with their goals. When I was in another world, we found the office of the main one in the city and a diary in which everyone said goodbye to one person imprisoned in a coffin for 1,000 years, and his name was Naruto Uzumaki. Fur briefly retold his journey. Quickly summon the rest. Astro roared and ordered the summoners to summon the rest. As soon as he shouted, 6 of the organization began to fold the seals for Edo Tensei. And as soon as everyone finished, 6 opening coffins appeared in front of them. Again, Edo Tensei was heard from the first coffin. Again, I didn't create this technique for this, so that I would be summoned for the 4th time. A dissatisfied and suffering voice said from the second one. Well, at least I have already been resurrected for the 2nd time, Tobarama-sama, a 3rd female voice was heard. And me, the 1st, was heard from the 4th. Likewise, the 5th coffin. Father? A 2nd female voice was heard from the last coffin. Esarada, what are you doing here? A dark-haired man asked in a trembling voice, coming out of the coffin and looking at his adult daughter. Sasuke, is that you? Asked a girl of 25 to 30 years old with blonde hair. Tsunade, an older man in red armor coming out of the first coffin. Grandfather, Tobarama-san, Sarada-chan and Sasuke and Konohamaru, is that you? You have changed so much. Yes, the 5th is us, said Konohamaru and tried to approach, but could not. We are under control, trying to free himself like the others, said Sasuke. Well, what have you already talked about? All 6 heard a voice, and turning around, everyone saw one person with black wings, and behind him a large number of the same, but also others. Who are you and why did you call us? Calmly asked the first Hokage Hashirama. To capture this world and destroy one strong person. I mean this world, this is not the world of shinobi, Tsunade asked in shock. Yes, only Astro answered. What kind of person should we destroy, hoping that he will be able to seal them? Asked Tobarama. His name is Naruto Uzumaki, Astro said and began to watch the shocked faces. What? Everyone shouted sadly, remembering the cheerful and unyielding blonde. Naruto mentally supported himself, clenched his hands into fists with all his might, and was about to enter the fight, but he was stopped by a hand placed on his shoulder. Turning around, he saw Sona's father. Sona told me everything and I'm very happy, Kenta said with a happy face, that's what I call Sona's father. Really, you don't mind? With the same smile, he rather approved than asked, and seeing Naruto's nod, he became as serious as possible, which almost scared Sitri. You know that the chance of my victory is extremely small, Naruto said this and looked at his opponents. Yes, I know, but please come back for the sake of my daughter and your child, squeezing his shoulder with force and trying not to lose control of his emotions. Of course I'll try, and again the stunning smile from which Kenta calmed down, although not completely. Okay, was all his father answered and removed his hand. Well, I'll take as strong opponents as possible, and the rest will be on you. Already turning to Naruto and disappeared in lightning. Okay, but be careful, Surzek said into the void and began to give a speech to raise morale, something like Gaara at 4 MWSH. As soon as Naruto disappeared, he appeared near the mark Minato had placed and kicked his father. Not expecting a Hiration from his son, he flew head over heels about 20 meters away from him. As soon as everyone saw, hearing the name of the one who was dear to them, everyone could not hold back their tears and anger towards those who would force them to fight against Naruto. And now they are trying with all their might to free themselves from control. Naruto's POV. Well, here I am again fighting for peace, but also for my future family. But it will be very difficult for me to fight with the 8th Hokage at once. And if I have no way out, I will use the mode, and if it does not help much, I will call on Shinigami to destroy them. But I will never give up, I will fight to the last. End POV Naruto. Long time no see, the blonde said with a sad smile looking at the others. And Naruto, I'm so glad you're alive, Tsunade asked without holding back. Yes, and Swami too, Naruto answered and looked at everyone else in the same state. Brother Naruto, are you younger than me? Asked Konohamaru and noted Naruto's age. Well, there is such a thing, well, it's time to get started and by the way, your bodies will not recover here, answered the question and gave hope to everyone. Why are you standing there? Kill him, Hokage Astro shouted behind everyone. Sorry Naruto, we don't want to attack, Hashirama apologized to Naruto. Nothing, I know everything, he only answered and attacked everyone. The fight was almost one-sided in favor of the summoned. Due to the fact that the first used Mokuton techniques, and the second with his water techniques did not allow him to roam to the fullest. While Naruto was thinking about what to do, Sasuke attacked him from behind with a Chidori aimed at the blonde's chest. Naruto, I will soon be able to get out of control, wait a little longer, shouted Sasuke and took out his sword, and our MC kunai with the mark of the God of Thunder. Having entered into a short fight with him in their duel, the 5th and 2nd in taijutsu got involved. A little food, said Sasuke, striking near his neck and folding the seal for the great fireball, blowing out a ball of truly great. Naruto created the head of a fox that was a slightly different color than before. It was approximately a whiter shade. As soon as it was created, Tsunade and Tobirama were thrown back by a wave of chakra. Minato and Hashirama with Sarada, Konohamaru appeared near them. Well Naruto, let's have some fun. Landing near Naruto, Sasuke asked. That's it, I'm glad, Naruto said, sincerely happy for his friend. You have a daughter, I'm surprised that his friend has a child. Well, yes, and you, the brunette answered embarrassedly and asked. I recently found out that my girlfriend is pregnant, Naruto answered as if nothing had happened, which stunned the Uchiha. Yeah, well, let's go. Having finished the conversation, the duo entered the battle with the other Kage. And deciding to divide them into 2 groups for a more effective outcome. Hey Sasuke, I think we should divide them into 2 groups. Naruto shouted, dodging Tsunade's destructive blows and throwing his kunai at Minato's kunai and jumping away from Konohamaru with a Rasengan. Good, between another parried blow from Hashirama and Tobirama with Sarada and Kakashi with Chidori. Cough. Cough on me Tobirama, my father, Konohamaru, and your daughter. On you the 1st, 5th, and Kakashi-sensei. You will cope well, worried about his friend asked Uchiha. Yes, and with these words Naruto exposed a pair of demonic wings. What is this, how beautiful, he has become like some of these, such were the thoughts of everyone looking at them. Having created 3 more clones that took their opponents and led them away from the others. Having moved away to a decent distance, Naruto and his clones attacked hand-to-hand on the 2nd, 4th, 8th and 9th Hokage. The fight went quite well in favor of the younger blonde because of the wings with which he dodged Tobirama's water techniques and Sarada's fire techniques. While Naruto was distracted by the 3, he did not notice the rapidly approaching Konohamaru, for which he paid with a kunai in the left chest area. Entering up to the hilt, he looked into the eyes of the 8th Hokage Konohamaru, and saw only regret and sadness. Sorry brother Naruto, standing next to the falling Naruto with bitter sadness said Konohamaru, and no longer just hating those who called him but also himself for weakness. Meanwhile, Sasuke. Uchiha himself fought off the furious blows of the 5th and at the same time launched fire techniques at the 1st and Kakashi. Again dodging blows from both Senju with the help of a katana, who knows where it came from, let it be the author's magic, winking and laughing. Well, really, I could do it, a voice behind Sasuke said with relief. And you didn't waste your time, sensei, the brunette sarcastically said. I'll take Tsunade-sama and you Hashirama-sama, shouted Kakashi running at Tsunade. The fight was already using huge turns in terms of destruction. After all, now the gods of shinobi from another world are really fighting. Hashirama and Sasuke used their most powerful techniques in the form of Susanoo and Thousand-Armed Truth. Oh, this reminds me of something, remembering past battles with Madara, Hashirama said standing on the head of Buddha. I'm stronger than him now, Sasuke asked with undisguised interest and created the last level of Susanoo. I don't know exactly what it's called, well, like when his Susanoo turned into lightning. Yes, you're already stronger than him, answered the young Uchiha's question of interest Hashirama. I almost forgot, I wanted to do one-on-one, and Tsunade and Kakashi recalled Astro to support his army. Well then let's finish this fight, Indra's arrow, Sasuke shouted sending the technique to Hashirama. Well, that's the end, and you're a good shinobi, the first Uchiha praised Hashirama, but did not finish and fell under the technique. Well, now to help Naruto, looking at the destruction around and said to himself Uchiha. Naruto. Nothing, I'm fine, Naruto said, getting up from his knees. What, no one could believe that he could survive that blow. Well then I'll get serious, okay, Naruto said and everyone immediately felt the enormous pressure of chakra. Even stronger than the 10-tailed one. And before everyone appeared a new image of the hero of the 5 nations and fear of his power. While the young Uchiha was returning back to his friend. Naruto went all out with his new regime, destroying everything left and right. Disappearing from the sight of the eyes of his opponents. Naruto appeared behind Tobirama with a Rasen Shuriken with a blue flame. Launching it at the second, who did not have time to dodge. Thereby falling under the technique and going to the light world. Sensing or feeling danger behind him, the blonde jumped up, dodging Minato and Konohamaru's kunai, and from the side from Sarada's fire technique. Having successfully dodged, Naruto created 4 clones and sent 2 clones to each. And he himself ran into the secret of Sasuke's daughter, who, to the surprise of the blonde, activated a pink-colored Susanoo about 60 meters high. But the main character grinned like a fox and began to concentrate chakra for Kurama's avatar. Having created it, there was only a difference in color and size. If earlier it was 50 meters high and orange, but now it was more than 70 meters and white-silver. Standing opposite Susanoo and slightly above his head. Swinging his front paws to strike, and on the tails, chakra hands emerged that created 4 magma Rasen Shuriken. While Sarada blocked the blows with her paws, Rasen Shurikens flew at her from behind the fox. Having received 2 blows on the sword and 2 on Susanoo's body, which began to crack at the seams and collapse. Well, and father really said that you are the strongest shinobi, remembering the words of her father, Sarada stood on one knee from chakra exhaustion. Although she has the chakra of the 1-tailed, 6-tailed, 7-tailed and 8-tailed, but because they were summoned from another world. They can't give it to Sarada. Don't worry, you are strong too, but I'm sorry that you will have to return to the bright world, approaching the younger Uchiha, Naruto said, creating a Rasengan in his hand. I don't understand anything and forgive me, accepting his defeat until the body began to attack again. And at the same second, Naruto struck the Rasengan in the head. On the second battlefield, 3 yellow thunderbolts were fighting. Only they were not in the sky, but on the ground. Ordinary people who saw this would say that it was a miracle. While 2 clones and Minato were fighting. They exchanged kunai BG and moved to each other and struck in Tai. Again raising a kunai to the throat of his son, who did not have time to reflect it. But to the surprise of both clones and the 4th, it simply broke on the neck. What? Was all Minato said and flew away from a powerful kick. We have too little time left, I already feel tired, the 1st clone said to the 2nd. Yes, it's time to finish, the 2nd supported the 1st and looked at the kunai flying at him. Again clashing battle at high speeds. And within a minute, the clones decided to use Rasen Shuriken on their father. Father, forgive me, but it's time for me to go, and if you knew, you would soon become a grandfather, and also tell Mom that she will be a grandmother, swinging for a throw, both clones said. Okay, I'll tell you, being in the kill zone for the clones' technique, Minato said. As soon as the fourth got into the kill zone, the clones simultaneously threw their techniques and hit Minato, who looked at his son for the last time with pride and joy. Having finished with their father, the clones dissolved and transferred knowledge and fatigue to the original. POV 3 and 4 Clone vs Konohamaru. I don't want to write the whole fight like the previous ones. I just don't have enough imagination, but I'll write that Naruto simply beat Konohamaru with the help of a new mode and wings and at the end used the avatar of Kurama and launched a Baijidama at him. As soon as all the clones appeared near the original, out-of-breath Sasuke. You're taking a long time, Naruto said, openly mocking the Uchiha. No, you're just fast, the Uchiha retorted, to which Uzumaki clicked his tongue. I'm done with mine, and you, the blonde asked curiously. Only Hashirama, and Kakashi-sensei and the fifth lady went somewhere. Okay, but I don't have much time, already feeling the gradual pain and numbness. How much? Sasuke worried. I don't know exactly, but about a few minutes, Naruto answered, putting his hand on Uchiha's shoulder for teleportation. Then I have the sixth and fifth, and you have the enemy army, Sasuke offered his plan. Okay, Naruto answered and moved them to the battlefield of two armies. But due to the fact that two Kage were here, the soldiers of the three factions were not in the best condition. Appearing near Sona's father and just in time to protect him from Kakashi's Raikiri. Seeing that he had just been saved and who he was happy and at the same time wary. Don't worry about father, he's on our side, Naruto said with a smile and looked at the faces of his two listeners who were exchanging calls. Thank you for saving me, and I don't mind about father, son, Kent thanked and allowed Naruto to call himself that and didn't forget to be sarcastic. Having finished the conversation, Naruto directed chakra into his vocal cords and shouted for everyone to retreat and for Uchiha to take on the Kage. As soon as the last warriors retreated to the others, a huge white-silver fox appeared in front of them, and energy began to accumulate near its open mouth. Having accumulated, a purple ball appeared, which flew at Astro and his 4,000 army. Literally 10 seconds after the tailed one's bomb had flown, all the smoke cleared. And a view of a large crater from the explosion opened, as well as the remains of the black star along with the battered Astro. It's time to finish, Naruto said this phrase to himself and threw a BG kunai at the leader of the New sect. Having moved to Astro, Naruto fell powerless right in front of him. Seeing all this, the heads of the three factions and the rest of the warriors rushed to help their savior. Is that all? Naruto was now in the worst possible state. We are doing everything we can, Naruto, but we can only restore you to one technique, Kurama said, restoring his chakra like the others. Cough, cough, and that's all you can do, Astro said arrogantly, looking down at the blonde. Even if you kill me, all three factions have already united for the sake of peace, Naruto answered lying on the ground, ignoring the enemy's arrogance. Everything is ready, Naruto, what will you do? Matatabi asked, worried about her friend. Is it enough to move someone here? Naruto asked for his plan. I think so, but you will lose consciousness and you won't even be able to get here. Naruto immediately understood the plan, Son Goku said. Okay, Naruto said out loud. What a choir. Astro did not finish telling the blonde, but saw a yellow flash and then another one but with a new character. He is yours, and with these words Uzumaki fell unconscious. Okay, Sasuke, will destroy you, Astro, Lucifer said and created a magic circle of destruction magic. No wait, tried to dissuade the red-haired Astro, but he simply did not listen to him and destroyed him. Taking the unconscious young man in his arms, Sasuke went towards the troops that were moving to help them. Having reached the troops, they were greeted with a standing ovation by everyone, along with Sasuke, who had just arrived after defeating 2 Kage. "How is he?" Uchiha asked, worried about his friend. "Yes, he just lost consciousness." Having already cast aside all doubts about his former enemy, the Lord of Hell answered. "Okay, you can then tell him good luck in his future family life." Sasuke asked with a smile. "Yes, I will." Surzex responded positively to Uchiha's request and began to watch as he disintegrated into dust. Well, this is the end of this fanfic. After this war for peace against the Black Star, all 3 factions recognized their new hero. As soon as 9 months passed, Sona gave birth to a healthy girl with a cute face from her mother and eyes from her father and hair color from her mother. Having decided to call her Alice, our couple began to settle in Naruto's house. A year later, with the help of knowledge about this world from Rikudo, Naruto became a successful businessman and opened 2 companies for the production of medicines and the exploration of space and the colonization of habitable planets. And what happened to the Bijou? During this time, all 9-tailed beasts appeared in Naruto. But he decided to release them in Hell, where they all found a home. But how he survived? It's simple. He left half of everyone's chakra for himself and survived. Now the whole world knows about the Uzumaki family, and children and adults admire him and try to get into the annual recruitment of workers and scientists in his company. That's the end.